Hi guys, and welcome to the Isle of Wight Masters round 2. I am joined here with Women Grandmaster Ketty, and I'm not gonna butcher your surname. I'm so sorry. I'm sure you get this a lot.
Yes.
Um,
But I love all the versions of my last name, so
You do?
you can give it a try. Like I would love it anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna say Ketty Satsalashvili.
Yeah, wow, that's actually very good. That's actually
It's
very
okay?
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you really say it?
Uh, exactly like that.
Oh, okay. We're off to a good start. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's
Um,
good, it's good.
so, with regards to the tournament, anyone watching, there was round 1 this morning. There was no commentary for round 1, but now we have round 2, so it's a double round day. The time control is 90 plus 30. There is no additional time at move 40, so these games are a little bit shorter than some other tournaments. We have quite a lot of grandmasters here in the masters section, and today specifically we have Cheng on board 1 playing against Emils Steiners. So I actually have a fun little anecdote about this, which is that Emils Steiners, he's a junior, and I actually played him in 2022 when he was 1750, and I drew with him in Reykjavik at my first ever tournament. And then I saw, and he is now 2237. Which is insane.
That's painful. That's painful.
I know. I know.
I know that feeling. I had the same experience with one of the well-known chess players these days, Nihal Sarin.
Yes.
So we played a tournament. We had exactly the same rating, 2315 or something. And I was older, obviously, than him. And we were both playing for our IM norm. For the last in the last round, he got his iron norm. I didn't get my iron norm, and ever since his rating grows so fast and so high, and mine went down. So I know that feeling.
Yeah, it's hard to watch kids just like skyrocket all the way up, and I think that this, especially as I was saying to you earlier, I think in the UK, the kids take it really seriously. You know, I was saying that compared to other places I've played chess in Europe, the kids in the UK are really, really tough. And I know Emils has a Latvian flag, but I believe he lives in the UK. And so I saw actually there were a couple of upsets in the first round. I was taking a brief look. There are a couple of kids making draws with people already, 300 points above them in round 1. So I have a feeling we're going to see this a lot in the tournament. We can just start to talk about the actual chess because I know we joined a couple of minutes after the round had started. So from Cheng with the white pieces, we have d4, d5. So we have the Queen's Gambit. Queen's Gambit declined, very normal. And now we have Catalan, so with g3. Have you ever played the Catalan, Ketty, or are you an e4 person?
Catalan is my favorite opening.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's my main opening.
Oh, okay, that's perfect because I'm an e4 player, so I don't have much experience with the Catalan. Except that I hate facing it, so...
Oh no, okay. It's a tough opening, right?
It is tough, and I had a game in my last tournament. I usually play the Queen's Gambit accepted, so when they transpose into a Catalan, obviously that changes things. And I just felt like I was uncomfortable the whole time with that pressure on the light squares. So let's look at the variation here that Emils has gone for.
Can I show you here?
Of course.
To show to viewers the small trap. Everybody loves these chip traps. And actually, I had it in my own game in Rapid. Instead of bishop d2, you can go knight to d2. And you are not really offering the bishop trade, and you are not getting your bishop on d2. That's why black actually gave the check with the bishop on b4. And the trap is that here, this is not a common move here. Usually you should castle and everything, but after castle there's move c5 and you have to give up your bishop for the knight and whatever. Like it can be a long line. So very often
Yes.
people are stopping that with b6, which is a blunder. And actually I got a grandmaster here after, b6.
Sorry, b6.
And
yes.
after b6 you have queen to a4 and you're winning the bishop here. That's a tricky line. You guys can go for it.
Very nice. And just to show that knight to c6 is not working because of knight to e5. Yes, very nice. And you got a grandmaster in this, in classical or online?
It was a rapid OTB. I was actually streaming that game.
Oh, rapid. Okay.
And he is a world champion under 16. I told you, like you can get the kids, you know, like you can trap the kids somehow. So,
that's a very nice trap to know. I think that I never really learned opening traps, and I think maybe this is a weakness of mine.
Go for it.
Yeah, I need to have a couple. I need to have a couple in my back pocket. So instead of knight d2, we have this move bishop to d2 and bishop back. So saying that we don't want to trade and normal development, castles, c6. So this all looks like I'm not sure about the theory here. Like I said, I'm not a Catalan player, but this all looks very normal from black.
Yeah, it's a main line here. Yeah, it's a main line.
Perfect.
They're following the main line. Yeah.
B3.
Yeah, all of this is just a main line here. And queen d3 is something new that I have not seen it. Usually this queen goes on c2.
Okay, so now Emils is taking a bit of time, which makes sense because this is so it's a new move.
It's a bit surprising for him too.
So I think that it's very likely that both players spent some time preparing. I guess Bobby probably less. He probably thought, I'll hit him with a different move and see how we go. I think when you're a kid and you're playing up, your coach is really making you prep a lot. Yeah. But I guess this move has only been played 11 times. No, sorry, less.
3 times.
3 times. 3 times. Yeah. So it's not common at all. And we're already, 11 moves in now, so. But I mean, if you were playing as white here and you're a Catalan player, I can ask you, why might you play queen to d3 instead of queen to c2?
So basically in this position, black's problem is the light square bishop on b7, and the second problem is the queen on d8. So white actually goes with queen c2 and rook d1, rook f to d1 or a to d1. And that's the main reason. Now you have the queen on d file, so it makes no problem for the black's queen on d8. And also after c5 is the main move there that black actually played very fast.
Yes.
Here there are some lines. 2 minutes. Yeah, there are some lines where, like, here with white, you want to play e4 here, and you cannot do that anymore. And basically, you cannot even take the pawn on c5 anymore because the knight jumps on c5 with the threat. So it's a bit different position. I'm very curious what is the idea here of Bobby. He's actually a grandmaster, so he knows what he's doing. I think he has prepared something very special for this game.
Yes, that all makes a lot of sense. And now, not being able to take on c5, I guess you have to make a different plan. And that's, like I said earlier to you, that I played the Queen's Gambit accepted. This is something that always stresses me out when the rooks are coming to DNC and my queen is on d8 still. So I can see for black in the Catalan, it's exactly the same idea. And it can be quite frustrating to deal with because obviously white has more space. And I always find playing against d4 openings to be a little bit more unpleasant somehow than playing against e4 openings. It always feels like white is having a great time.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
why
think, Mhm,
everybody switched so fast to
mhm,
D4 for
yes.
last few years because I'm a D4 player. I've never played
Mhm,
D4 and I always wanted to play
mhm,
E4 because I was so jealous of everyone having all these
mhm.
crazy Sicilian positions and everything. And I always wanted to play Sicilian but never really played. D4 is more positional play, right? But for past few years already, ever since pandemic, even before that, so people are starting to play D4 even more because still there are some windows here
Mhm.
that both sides can play. And with E4, I don't know, they claim that after E5 it can be just a easy game for black.
Yes, and especially the Catalan became very, very popular more recently in
Mhm.
the past couple of years. And I think at much lower levels, Black has a really hard time. Obviously, these are two very good chess players, but I think it can be a good weapon, even at an intermediate level. Would you like to
Mhm.
take a look at board two whilst
Yeah, let's
Emils
go
has a
there.
think in this position? So on board two,
Cool.
we have a board two camera here as well. Let's just go back to the beginning. So here we have second seed Sebastian Bogner, Swiss Grandmaster, and he's playing a 2200. So we have, let's just, I guess we will look from White's perspective for all of the games.
Mhm.
And knight f3, knight f6. I never really feel happy with seeing knight f3 because I never know what they're going to do. I always play d5,
Yeah.
but I feel like I'm playing right into their hand.
It leaves all the options open. Other people
Exactly,
don't like it.
exactly. It's a
I like it so
psychological
much.
opening. Yes,
Yeah, I
and I
like it
suppose you
because it
can
reads.
transpose into Catalans and
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
It writes so well to my name, Katy Reti. It's
That's
something
true.
that really
That's true.
I have never realized it, like playing chess for like 20 plus
Mhm.
years. And I had a student 6 years old, and she was playing like you start with E4 when you start to play chess, right? Like there's so many really, really lovely openings, that gambits and everything in E4. And he's like, no, 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 I want to play Reti. And I was like, but why? Like Reti is sounding so advanced. And she goes like, because it is like something like your name, Katy and Reti. And I was like, what? And
It
after that,
feels
I was
like a
like,
very
that's the
mature
game to play.
opening, you know?
Yes. I like it.
So we have g6. So black is trying
Mhm.
to keep a flexible position before deciding which of their central pawns they want to commit. And okay, so this is now a King's Indian. And it's fun to see King's
Yeah.
Indians. I've never played the King's Indian myself because seems very scary to play as black. I don't know how you feel about it, if you play it or
I
not.
love King's Indian. I love all the openings by the
This is good.
way.
This is perfect combination. We have different openings.
Yes. Yes, you take E4 games, I take D4 games, we cover everything. Um, the reason why I love it is that in King's Indian, you barely have
Hmm.
draw. Like it's so sharp.
Yes, that's
You might
true.
win with white, or you might
Hmm.
win with black. I don't necessarily like it with white only, because black is also having really nice
Hmm.
position. And like even if we go just further, we can see all these typical ideas here.
Yes, exactly.
And the thing is that my coach, one of my coaches in Georgia, who showed me these lines, was the second of Garry Kasparov. And I
Ah.
had an access
Hmm.
to his files just to
Hmm.
see it. Of course, I have not really got my hands on that. Just I saw the lines. It was really like I got a headache because these lines were going up to, I don't know, 40, 50 moves until the promotion of the pawns. Uh,
Wow.
and of course, he showed some really fancy lines there, and I really liked it after that, you know, um, story that he was the file for Garry Kasparov.
I love that. And it feels like a different era with like Kasparov and Jude playing, the King's Indian. I feel like we see it very
Yeah.
rarely at the top level now. But it's nice to see it in these open tournaments to get like a good King's Indian. And I totally know what you're saying. It's very rare to get a draw in this kind of opening just because it's so imbalanced. So let's take a look at what is happening. So we have e5, castles, knight c6. Is knight c6 a slight deviation, or it's normal?
Yeah, no, it's a main line here with e5 and knight c6. You are inviting d5. So black wants to close the center. Because white is stronger in the center, and this is kind of provocation. And after d5 that happened in the game, you get this knight on the king side. So knight c6, knight e7 is the idea.
Very nice. Obviously, because all of black's play is going to be on the king side anyway, so it's perfect.
Yeah, I'm afraid after this commentary of ours, I don't know how many days we're going to have. You will switch to d4.
You will convince me. You will convince me.
Yes.
Okay, so d5 is played just like you said, and we have this idea of rerouting the knight over to the king side. And now b4 to take some space on the queen side. And I mean, I like space, so for me, I would be very happy with this position as white. As somebody who has never played a King's Indian, I know it's all about hitting back with these f5 and kingside attacks, but I just love how much space there is. I think it's very, very normal to want to have this amount of space. But, you know, I guess there's always the threat of your pawns being undermined. We have a5.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, and this is the point because if I'm white here, if I play with white, even though here we have the with black, which is a grandmaster, he's actually Sebastian. He's from Germany. Duration to Switzerland in like 2013, I guess, and he's a Swiss. Oh, I think.
Sorry, I think I'm having a slight connection error, so I'm just going to flick to the sponsor.
was holding all the cards and always kept me in the dark. I never thought I could shake this heartache until I saw your light, and it's got me feeling like life is good, yeah. Life is good, life is good, yeah.
Okay, sorry about the tech issues. I think I'm still having some slight camera lag, but we can continue the analysis. Katie, I'm sorry, what were you saying about playing this position
I
as
was
white?
dropping some wisdom here.
You were dropping wisdom about this position.
I'm just saying that I'm so curious to see how this game continued, because if my opponent plays here a5, and I would be so happy to see this move.
You would be happy to see a5?
Yeah, and the reason is is that what you just pointed out, black plays on the king side with knight e8, f5, f4, and all this king side attack. And white is
Yes.
trying to open up the queen side. So any open up of the files on the queen side is just good for white.
Okay, so like it feels as though white has managed to distract black from their actual purpose, which is playing on the other side of the board. A little bit.
That's really strange, because Sebastian, he's so experienced grandmaster, like he knows his stuff. But when you play against lower rated players, you always just go much more risk, I guess, in the opening.
Yes, and so we have some more moves made. So we have b takes a, rook takes a, a4.
A4.
And then we have this move which the computer didn't like so much from black, which is c5. And I mean, what we said earlier was that with provoking d5, we want to close the center anyway. So what are you thinking about the c5 move?
Yeah. Like, you just don't play the queen side in this position. Like, you are making so many mistakes with that. We can see this question mark here too. If we just back with a4, like, to understand the ideas here, we can understand why c5 can be a bad move. So with a4, white wanted to play bishop a3 and bishop b4 to kick this rook out. So black wanted to stop that happening. But actually, you cannot really. You're gonna have this b5 square. Sorry.
Are we back?
I can hear you.
Yes, it's okay. I think it's good now. I think we're fixed. Unfortunately, I seem to be having some network issues today, as maybe because they're digging up my street outside, but hopefully it will not continue. Sorry again for cutting you off. So as you were saying that bishop d2 was the best move, it's played one move later, so now there is not going to be any risk of discovery on the rook on a5 because of rook a6 seems to make a lot of sense.
Just think. Get more for white and gives white like +1.
Mm-hmm.
Like a5, knight a4, knight b6 together. Play. Played. That's a bit odd move. I don't. King h1 is like I don't know, something like knight b5 might be really interesting. Is that your cat?
Yes, yes, that's my cat. So sorry, I was not ignoring you before. I was just having was checking.
Like, what the hell is going on?
She
It's
wants
moving.
to. Yeah, okay, it's okay. She's not knocking the camera over, so it's totally fine. It's totally fine. I'm sorry that I think you got cut off there before. I think we're all caught up. So you were saying about this move, King H8?
Can I just say hi to people, everyone in the chat? I haven't streamed for like half a year or something.
Yes, this is true. As you were saying to me that you're not really a streamer anymore, and so this is a bit of a comeback for you.
It is a comeback. It feels so weird, but I'm so happy to see you guys, all of you. I'm so happy. Greetings to all of you, to my channel and to Lula's channel as well. And so good to see you, everyone.
How do you feel about streaming for, like, after not streaming for such a long time? Is it a bit daunting? I always feel like when I take a big break, I'm not sure how things will feel when I come back.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel good.
But but then when you go live and people are there, it's great, you know?
Yeah.
And it's the same people and they're just happy to see you and it feels really nice. But like you have that little thing right before you go live where you're thinking, oh, what's it gonna be like?
Yeah, I don't know, like someone just drags me back before I come here and sit down and start the stream. But also, like, there are so many details that you have to do when you're streaming, and like you're forgetting it. It's just so weird, and it takes some time to get back to all the small details. You know, can be really annoying sometimes. But like you said it right. Whenever you see the chat, you see the people that you know for so long, it goes well then. I might actually start the stream title Tuesdays.
Oh, that's a good idea. And then you know it's regular, and if it's something you want to play anyway, then why not stream it?
Yeah, I play in Poland, so it's a good preparation to play online first.
Yes, and should we take a look back at the first board as some time has passed?
Oh, let's go there.
Perfect. So, okay, so we have quite a few changes. So let's just go back to where we were. Here we were after c takes d, e takes, and now rook f to d1. So same idea as you had said, putting the rooks on d and c, but now we have the queen here as well.
Well, like this is not really Catalan anymore. Like it transposes to the other lines now. Like basically white is not really doing the main idea here. e4 was the main idea in Catalan. Like you are not really doing that. But instead of this, what white really wants here is to play, I think, somewhere 95. And to have this kind of like, it looks like a London, right? With bishop on g2.
It does a little bit.
Yeah. So now, after 95, you want to maybe trade the knights, and then white is hitting the pawn on d5 with the queen on d3, rook on d1. If you take on c5, this pawn will be isolated, and you can
Yes.
have a target. With bishop on g2, d5 pawn is a really, really big target. So you can do that. That's one way to do it, knight e5, or you can also do something like knight h4, knight f5 to get this knight here. And this knight can be so sneaky on f5. And you can play g6 because it weakens the dark squares there. And you obviously don't want to give up the dark square bishop as well. So I think white is just very comfortable in this position.
Yes, I hate playing with an isolated queen's pawn. Most of the openings I play, I chose because they don't give me those isolated pawn positions. Obviously, sometimes you can have a great isolated queen's pawn, but like you said here, it could be a big target.
That's why you take the queens when there is the c4. You always take it, right?
Exactly. 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 That's why I'm not playing isolated queen's pawn positions. So many people have tried to convince me, that it's just something I need to do as part of my chess journey, is start playing these positions, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that in the case of the good isolated pawn, if you have a good isolated pawn, good position, and your pawn is not a weakness, you have a big chance to attack the opponent's king.
Yes.
So you
yes.
can
And
look
I've been
from
on the
that
receiving end
perspective.
of this, for sure.
Yeah.
I've definitely been checkmated. With my opponents having isolated pawns. Unfortunately, though, I think I never managed to. I've never been intuitively big attacking player. It's something that I've had to work on, and so it doesn't come very, very easily to me. So we have rook e8 followed by rook c1, and both sides now have just completed development. Well, I guess there's still a rook on a8, but after something like rook c8, both sides have got all of their pieces in, and I'm kind of wondering what it is that black can play
wants
for
to
here.
do here.
Yeah.
First, like after rook to c8, if black does that, rook to c8, you also have this bishop h3 idea. So as long as d5 is not a weakness and target now, you can just place this bishop here on h3, c8 diagonal, and then play knight e5. And also a lot of tactics that we have seen happens on f7, like after knight e5. This knight is very, very nicely placed there. And the rook is already on e8, which weakens the f7 pawn. Like, if that, let's connect all the dots, like I'm talking there out. So with all these plans, with bishop on h3 and knight on e5, you can look for some weaknesses in black's position. And that's when you are just cooking the tactics. And you can just look for different kind of ideas there.
Yeah. It's like what Capablanca said, where, if you just put your pieces on good squares, then the tactics will come, the position will play itself, basically. Putting all your pieces on the best squares available. So it's looking quite nice for Bobby Cheng. Of course, he is the favorite in this position anyway. He has very, very small time advantage, which I expect will widen as the game goes on. We could actually take a look, if we like, at board 3 that we don't have a camera for, but we could just take a peek because all of the top boards are playing at a very high level. So we have another grandmaster. We have Thomas Beerdsen playing with the white pieces on board 3 against a 2200.
This is yours?
Yes, so we have a Sicilian. We have and going to be an open Sicilian. Personally, I don't play the open Sicilian, but I think definitely you get the most fun positions from the open Sicilian. So this is quite an exciting game, I hope. And knight c3. Okay, so we have Najdorf. And I know, like, for white in the Najdorf, you have like 15 different moves you can play, or like very early on. And so it's really it's a very complicated opening, you know? And I think that White is probably just hoping that as the better player, I mean, White was always going to get a nice position here in the knight off and get a nice attack. So, okay. So with e5, this one is called the English attack, apparently. And I mean, it can be very thematic in a lot of Sicilians to play e5. In other Sicilians, not so good. I mean, you're always giving away this d5 square, aren't you? So, and you have this backwards d6 pawn. So there's definitely a compromise that you make in taking this space in the center. I mean, like d6 is long-term weakness if d5 is not able to be played. And we have normal developing moves. Do you know what this looks like? This looks exactly like a Smith-Morra without the pawn being missing on the c pawn.
C2.
Yes. Apart from that, it looks exactly like a Smith-Morra Gambit position.
Yeah, and it's funny because maybe it's even better not to have the pawn on c2 because you have rook c1 and you have like black spaces are like so. These are amazing actually in chess. I like Gambit so much.
Yes, I think there are some Gambits.
Like you pointed out.
Sorry, carry on.
You go ahead.
I was going to say that I think there are some Gambits which I think everyone should have a Gambit in their repertoire basically somewhere. And for me, has usually been the Smith-Morra, but I haven't been playing it so much recently.
Yeah. My first Gambit that I've ever heard in my life is Evans' Gambit.
Oh yes, this is a really good one.
You know it, right?
Yes, in the Italian.
Yeah, but I've never played it myself. My grandmother played it. It was her first opening. And I remember she was telling me some stories how she beat someone in Evans' Gambit, and it was such an amazing opening and stuff like that. But I was not playing chess at that time, so I had no idea who was Evans. It was Evans' Gambit.
This might be embarrassing. I actually don't know who the Gambit is named after. I don't know the chess player Evans. I don't know them. But yes, Evans' Gambit is very nice in the Italian, gambiting b4. And a lot of the idea behind it, I believe, is to stop black from getting castled by getting a lot of initiative.
Yeah. William Davis Evans. Origin in 19th century, 1827.
Okay.
It's a long time ago. But it's interesting how the things are coming back in fashion. I remember Hubov played some years ago. Evans' Gambit, he played a wonderful game, like really, really nice game. With the computers now and a new approach that players have, I think a lot of openings that was not so fancy can come back in different shapes.
Yes, I think a lot of fun openings are coming back, like we saw in the candidates with, Prague playing f5 in the Ruy Lopez or whatever it is, like delayed Schliemann. And things like this, people are trying to get an edge by playing slightly offbeat openings. And I think it's very fun to see at the top level. So in this game, we have a continuation here, of course, bishop b3 because it is under attack, knight c6, queen e2, bishop to e6, rook to d1, rook to c8, and bishop to g5. So this is where we are. And yes, if this was a Smith-Morra Gambit, you would be able to play a move like rook c1 and have lots of pressure. But this is just a much more solid position, I guess. There is no material imbalance. And
yeah, the latest move, bishop g5, actually is very interesting because, like, most of the times we like to give up our bishop for the knight. And especially like black's pieces are so passive now. But white's idea is to give up bishop on f6 and then to play knight d5 or bishop d5. So white wants to control d5 square and let black keep the bishop, dark square bishop on the board. That's a big weakness in black's position. The idea of white, and after knight to a5, I think we can still do that. Bishop f6, bishop f6, and maybe bishop d5, or even knight d5.
Yes, and because this knight is helping to control d5, like we said, you have that backwards pawn, and I guess the only way that you can deal with the backwards pawn like this is to either push it or to somehow barricade it by putting something on d4, which is not going to be possible anytime soon. Okay, so knight a5 played quite quickly. But
like, look at the time situation. Black spent somewhere so much time.
Yes, I guess when you're playing a grandmaster, maybe he hasn't, I don't know how many grandmasters this guy has played in his time, but I think when you're playing a grandmaster, you want to be very careful, right? To make sure to make sure that
how many grandmasters have you played?
I've never played grandmaster in over the board classical chess. Never ever. Especially a lot of the a lot of the tournaments I play have accelerated pairings, so I'm never playing grandmaster.
Is your current rating now?
It's around 1700 p-day. So I've been playing for 4 years.
Yeah, I know your story. You just started some years ago, right? And to have 1700, it's actually quite impressive.
Thank you. Nice. I was very conscious of improving at first, and now I'm kind of in this spot with chess where I'm actually not so concerned about improving, and I'm just more in trying to enjoy it, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and with chess you can't be, like, it's not possible unless you're going to spend all of your time on chess, and I was never going to be spending my whole life on chess. So yeah, I actually kind of stopped spending a lot of time studying because it wasn't making me happy. And now I see there are a lot of streamers who love to study, kind of also new to chess. So Jules Gambit, I know she played as a kid, but she started playing again recently, but she studies all the time and she loves to study. And I just wish that I loved to study in the same way that she does.
But like, she was playing chess earlier, right? Like when she was younger, I think, as a child.
Yes, she was. Yes,
it's different, like when you already.
Yes, this is true. I try not to compare, actually. I think that it's very important not to compare yourself with others and their improvements. But still, it would be nice if I had that desire to study, but I've never had it, not even for school. So.
Oh, I love to study. I have so many books on the back, and I have most of them are chess books. And
really?
I have here on the table chess set open. So like, there are some times evening when I just watch some series, and I'm like, okay, let me read a book, like just analyze a game. And it is so pleasant process for me. That like sometimes I enjoy more to study than to play. I used to enjoy that. And like, I could just study for like hours and hours, like 5-6 hours per day, like in a row, without even eating anything. So
oh my gosh,
yeah, once you have this in habit, then you're just gonna do it every day until you burn. So
yes, that's true. It is definitely a habit to pick up. And the thing is when I do actually study, I'm enjoying my time, but it's just, I'm a big procrastinator. So I'm not encouraging myself. And I guess it's helpful sometimes to have a study partner to keep you accountable.
Yeah, you need you need a person who will just like will be very much focused. I had a friend, we had the same coach, and there were some days like when we were just analyzing on like position. We were analyzing, I think, Grunfeld, like some openings, and we were just playing together. And then we were analyzing the from the book and everything. And I was staying at her like in at her home, so we had our times to talk and gossip and watch the news and everything. But then we had these hours every day to work only and like super focus on that. So like you can actually try to find someone at your level and like you can just go ahead and study together. Cool.
Yeah, and I feel the same way about tournaments as well. I always prefer to go to a tournament with somebody else rather than to go on my own. I guess if you're a professional, maybe it's a bit different because you're super, super focused. But when I go to a tournament,
I still like the place when I like the people there. If I don't like the people in the tournament, which happens sometimes, I just play in bed. Every tournament I play in bed, I don't like people there. I can play so bad, I can just score a point because I just hate it to be there. And like it's for me it really matters like what kind of company I am in. Because like you're spending like 9 days in a row with some people you don't like, it's so uncomfortable. And
yes, I feel exactly the same.
It's best to travel with a friend, at least you have someone to spend time with.
We've had quite a big transformation in this game here in the past couple of minutes. So we had some trades. So like you said, we did have bishop takes f6. And then we also had knight trade, knight for bishop here. And so I guess now if you want to keep some kind of interesting imbalance, you could play knight takes b3 here as black. And then you have the bishop for the knight. And I guess
that's
it
not
means
a good...
It's not a great bishop. But...
The bishop is really, really bad piece here. So probably you have to take this bishop on b3. Knight b3 can be the move here. But that gives white so risk-free endgame here. And this is the perfect position for the grandmasters when they play lower-rated players. They can just simply outplay the opponents without any risk. And that's why, like, whenever you play grandmaster, you have to make as much problem as possible. Like, you cannot go for drawish positions, and you cannot just choose the equal openings because that's not your turn. You have to
they will
like
just outplay
make sure
you
that
positionally.
Yeah. So here I feel that even if it's like the engine bar is equal, it is so comfortable to play with white.
Yes, when you have the superior minor piece, it always feels nice. And especially with this kind of awkward d6 pawn, it feels like you have two positional advantages over the opponent. And white doesn't really have any problems at all. Yeah, even if knight takes b3, the doubled b pawns will not be an issue at all in the endgame. So it's very nice. We can go back maybe to board 1 to see how things are going.
Let's see that.
So let's go...
hanging pawns.
Yes, let's go back.
Do you like hanging pawns?
I always blunder one of them somehow. I feel like I love when my pawns look like this, but then all of a sudden my pieces end up babysitting my pawns, and I don't know what to do.
Okay.
So like you said earlier, knight e5 has become the engine's favorite idea. So this was your idea from before. And especially now that the knight has left d7, there's really no reason not to put a knight on e5. Cannot be captured, cannot be... nothing really can be done. So it's very nice.
Yeah, after
And then
95,
also
the
obviously
pawn
opening the
d5 is
bishop.
hanging. Yeah, I think White is
Yes,
just getting the pawn.
yes. After knight e5,
Oh boy.
you cannot push, obviously. Well, no, you cannot push because the bishop is hanging, and then you cannot take, the rook is hanging. So yeah, see, this is the kind of thing that would happen to me, is what is happening to Emils, is he's got this hanging pawn structure and he's about to blunder one of them.
Yeah, and listen it.
What about you?
That's
How do you feel
interesting.
about having hanging pawn structure?
Like it really depends how active are my pieces. If I have active
Mm-hmm.
pieces, I'm happy to have a hanging pawns because they're so
Mm-hmm.
dangerous. Like they're just moving so
Mm-hmm.
fast. But in this position, Black doesn't have happy pieces. Like look at this knight on
Yes.
f8, bishop on b7 is um and you can freely move them, right? You can push c4 or you can push d4. If you push one of the pawns, then you're giving up the squares. So I think I prefer to play against the hanging pawns most of the time. I play with isolated pawn on the other hand, but here it's always about the calculation, right? So like you might love the hanging pawns, but then there's 5 move here and you lose the hanging pawn right away. So I think Bobby Chang will just play 95. It's not so difficult to find here.
Yes, I think so too. And so we can probably just go to board 2. Seeing as, this position, there is really one good move. There's not so much to calculate. Let's take a look at board 2. We have an interesting position. So
oh boy, look at this Black's pieces.
almost all on the back rank. So when we left this
Ruqayyah
game, we
next
had just
move.
yes, rook a8, and then really we're in a
bishop
we're in a
f6,
pickle.
queen c7, queen b8, bishop
Yes.
d8. It takes 4 moves. 5.
So we left this game at king h8. We were here, and since then we've had queen c2, knight e8, rook b1, knight g8, rook a b3. So black decides we have a closed center. I have time to maneuver my pieces. White is making the gun. That's what we call it on my channel. We just call it the gun, the Alekhine's gun. And I guess White is quite happy here to have the semi-open B file. Their knight on c3, pretty well placed to stop Black from having any pressure on the A file, especially because their rook is so disconnected by all of these other pieces. The pressure is not coming anytime soon. So it feels very strange, right? Because this was the King's Indian, and not so much happening on the King's side yet. Do you think that Black's still going to go for this f5 plan, and that's why he's rerouting his knights? Maybe wanting to support f5 somehow.
Yeah, he had to do this, and all this thing started because Black started to play on the queen side, and it's never Black's side. Like you have to go f5, f4 right away. And like if you try to play here f5, for instance, that is not so easy decision because like I have knight g5 with idea to play knight e6.
Yes.
And like you have to be careful when you want to play moves like f5 here in this position. Because White's pieces are very active. They are ready to get on g5, on e6. Even if White has to sacrifice this pawn on e6 after trading, then d5 square is very strong for the knight. Then also the pawn b7 will be weak. So the move f5 is not really working here. And if this is not working, then I don't know what Black's pieces are doing on the back rank.
Do you think interesting idea from the engine? Do you think that just bishop h6 and trying to trade off some of White's active pieces? Because I guess actually this dark squared bishop's not so good.
Yeah, I would be a little bit skeptical to opt dark square bishop too, because like there are some lines with knight sacrificing on e5
Mm.
somewhere. But like again, we have to calculate everything. It's not possible now. So yeah, maybe bishop h6, get rid of the dark square bishop. Why not?
We have a question from chat. Is there delay? So yes, I do believe all of the GGT boards are on 10 or 15-minute delay. Our cameras from the event are not on delay, but we can't really see their pieces. So we're going off the live boards, which are on delay for sure.
I think I understand bishop h6 idea here. White is suggested by the engine. So here, rook b3, we have the question mark, right? Rook b3, rook
Yes.
b3 has been played here because like White had a better move, I think, with a5. So here,
Right.
just imagine this plan. You play a5 with White, then you play knight a4 and knight b6. And you want the light square bishop. If the light square bishop is off the board, f5 is no longer a threat for us. And also, pawn on b7 will be a weakness, and it will be lost in few moves. You mentioned about the Alehan gun, right? You just put the rook on b3, queen b2, and it. There's no way to guard this pawn. So a5, knight a4, knight b6 is the option there. And sadly, this bishop, light square bishop, has no square to go. So when you do here bishop h6, let's say we traded these bishops on dark square bishop, a5 will no longer be supported by the bishop, right? So this idea of a5, knight a4 no longer works.
That's very interesting. I think, is there, so instead of rook b3, a5, and this idea to put the knight on this nice outpost, get rid of this bishop, and to eventually take this pawn is what you were saying, which is a very nice idea.
You can also take the pawn, right? This pawn is hanging here, but just because you can take and play knight b5, you can give up the pawn, but b7 pawn here is not really a big advantage for black anyway. And your next move here can be something like rook to a1, rook to a8, queen a4, and stuff like that. Knight a7 is also another move to go after the bishop.
Yes, this is very nice. And really, for just this pawn, you have, again, the queen retreating, all of black's pieces completely inactive over here. And so even if you are giving up this pawn, you have very clear, very clear plans on where to play, very clear weaknesses for black. And for me, I always find that it's the positions where you have the most clear plans, even if you're down a pawn, that you want to be having. So it's no good being up a pawn if your position is miserable and you have not a clear way to improve it. So we have a move from black, and the engine is being quite harsh, calling this, okay, not a blunder, but a miss, but basically going against the engine's top idea of playing bishop h6 and playing h6 instead, completely different idea. I guess this is to prevent these knight g5 ideas for... Yes, exactly. So it's a very human move, very thematic, I suppose, in this opening, because we're wanting to play f5 and end. So, you know, that does make a lot of sense to me. And I guess when you're King's Indian player, like, you're not just going to abandon your idea of f5.
I like this move. I don't know why it's so bad, actually.
No, I think that especially when you're seeing King's Indian games, seeing the engine analyze them, I think that the engine a lot of the time doesn't like black's position. Even if black is having some plans or some initiative, I think that the engine really likes space a lot.
Yeah.
Shall we take another look to see if Bobby Cheng won that pawn?
Yeah, let's go there. I think we still have the him thinking. Let's check it. He's calculating something.
Ah, yes, he hasn't taken yet. He
Well, I have a
looks...
question to you.
Yes? He's in
What do you
deep
think,
calculation.
approximately? Because, like, Bobby's from Australia, and we
Yes.
don't have a lot of grandmaster from Australia, right? It's not so, like, chess is not so, I think, even recognized as a sport there. Like a few years ago, it was like that. What do you think approximately how many grandmasters they have? I
Oh,
heavily stop in that's why I'm asking this question.
okay. How many grandmasters are there in Australia? Honestly,
Approximately.
I have no idea. It's going to be a completely random guess. I'm going to say... I think it's going to be a very low number because of the... I don't think they have, huge chess culture.
Yeah.
I could be way off. I'm going to say... Bobby Cheng is the only one I've ever heard of. I'm going to say 9. How many is it?
Very close. I
Wait,
see actually 8.
8?
I see 8 people. Yeah.
I was
So,
I was so close.
yes. You're very close. They have
Wow.
8 grandmasters.
Okay.
There's one guy actually who's international master, and he has actually quite a higher rating than grandmasters.
But he
But
doesn't
you're
have the
so close.
norms.
I know, probably, or he has norms. He still needs the rating. 2495 is his rating right now.
Okay.
So, Bobby Chang is the first seeded Australian player. So he's the first in his country. He's actually 27 years old, and he was the world champion under 12 in 2009. Whenever we have some players that we do a lot of commentary, we know a lot of players, right? And then there's a player from Australia, Grandmaster. I was like, I have to do some research here. And found out that he's actually a world champion. It's not easy to become world champion, right? After 12. And also in 2013, he became the Australian champion. But I don't know, this is maybe he became later on again, but there's no information about that. But we have here at this tournament actually highest rated Australian player. Just really cool.
And he's a very active player as well. I have seen him playing at other events before. And I recognize his name, which for me, as someone who hasn't been playing chess that long, I don't know all the grandmasters, but Bobby Cheng is definitely one that has popped up in quite a lot of tournaments. It's nice to see active grandmasters playing in open events. I think that you get a lot of kind of the same people who we see online. Being invited to the top level events, and it's nice to see some coverage of other events, open events, and so I like to watch that kind of commentary as well.
Find out about other players too, who are playing really awesome chess. I understand that there are so many players like that that don't have high rating to be invited to the top grandmaster tournaments that we are so much following. But still they play so much chess and so interesting chess. And that's why these kind of open tournaments are extremely interesting, and you can find so many talent here.
So we have a chat message saying that if we include inactive players, there are 9 grandmasters in Australia. So I think I should get some kind of prize.
You're right, actually.
I think I should get some prize for this.
Applauses!
I'm really interested.
Grandmaster.
Oh, yes, you do?
Yeah, I know him. He's an awesome person. He's a really, really nice person. I thought
There
I
are quite
knew
a
two
few
people, but where's another?
there are quite a
Two
few
people, but where's another?
Australian chess streamers as well, or at least there have been in the past. Specifically, like
Ah,
very active, there's Hannah Sace, and I've seen that she has been playing a lot of tournaments in Australia. I also have a friend who is a FIDE master who moved to Australia for a couple of years, and there seem to be quite a lot of tournaments there, at least in the big cities. So maybe it has more of chess
yeah,
culture than we know
to.
about.
I wanted to play there, like 2 events, and I
Mm-hmm.
go for a month. I was
Mm-hmm.
even looking for the apartment to stay and like to travel and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when I was a student, and they made it so difficult for me to get the visa.
Ah.
And
Mm-hmm.
they said like you have to get the tourist visa and to
Mm-hmm.
have some, I don't know, 20K on your bank account. And I was like, 20 what? I'm a student, like how can I have 20K on my bank account? And, like I started the process and I applied for my
Mm-hmm.
visa. I lost like $30 for that visa. I never got it. Um, and yeah, I remember that would be like there were only 2 tournaments I could play, not too much, which is really sad because like it's so good to have chess tournaments and to have these people the opportunity to play in their country. Like imagine for him or Bobby Chang, like he has to travel like more than a day to get in Europe and to play the tournament.
Mm-hmm. I guess what you were saying before about him not being listed if he's been champion again, maybe it's possible maybe he's not living there because he does play a lot of tournaments in Europe, so maybe he is possible that
Not.
he's living in Europe and playing a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
I don't know him personally, so but I'm very intrigued
Yeah.
because he's tanking quite a lot of time on the clock here. He had about a 10-minute time advantage before, and now he is down almost 20 minutes. So this is very interesting. I wonder what it is he's calculating when, yes, in 95 does appear to be very strong. I guess it's possible he is looking at this idea you mentioned earlier, where you mentioned knight to h4, knight to f5 as a possible plan to put some pressure on the king side. And maybe he is wondering if, all of these possible knight moves that the engine might give us, if all of them are going to win this pawn and if all of them are equally good. I think, especially we have the engine, so it's completely different for us. If you're not having the engine, it can be very hard to decide on a plan if all of them appear to give you, like similar payout. But of course, it depends on where you want your knight to end up.
Yeah, because after 95, there's this a little bit nasty move, bishop d6, and your knight is kind of up there. Like you can't really go anywhere. You have to go back. But there is some kind of tactical motives here, like 95.
Right. Yes, because 95
And
bishop.
if you take on e5, that actually is not so good because you can e5 and then knight f6 is a check.
Yes.
And the queen on d8 is hanging and the bishop on b7 is hanging. So you have to get rid of the bishop and knight. So bishop d5 probably. Bishop d5. If you take knight d5, I'm happy in that position. If you take bishop e5 here right away, can I just take on a5 and play bishop f7? Or I think bishop e5, rook e5, bishop f7 is just fine position. Takes, and queen d8. This is what he's calculating because you have to give the proper evaluation here. 2 pieces and against rook and 2 pawns.
Yes, this is
maybe it's not enough.
A pretty big imbalance. I mean, computer evaluates it as equal, but you really have to decide if this is what you want. And I guess these pawns can be quite weak for black. And you would play maybe to to have a, well, I mean, you already have a passed e-pawn, but I think something that the engine wanted, which again, we have the luxury of the engine the players don't have, is to suggest changing up the move order and taking on f7 first. And then
Queen
this
C4 check.
queen c4, which is, and then we have even more checks. This is quite crazy. I wonder if he's calculating this. I don't know. This is something I would not be able to calculate personally. This is very, very crazy. I think that the line you suggested is definitely likely what he is calculating right now. I think move order is something that I struggle with a lot. Is you have the right tactic in mind with like bishop f7, but I'm always playing these things in the wrong order to get the advantage. I've definitely done this in tournament games before. I would be very impressed if he plays if he played this idea here. This with queen c4 is very nice.
Problem is that you have so many options here with white.
Yes.
That can be problematic. Sometimes you just want to have moves so you can find it easily. I think let's have here a bet. Do you think he will go for it? Do you think he'll play 95 and he's calculating all these things?
I hope he plays knight e5.
Or he will go.
I hope he does. I mean, he is the grandmaster, so he should have the confidence to play knight e5. You know, I guess there is pressure when you're the favorite in the position to not mess up, but I think it's very nice. And like we just looked at this line, it's so much more complicated than we first looked at, where I guess we just had a brief look and said, oh, you win the steep one, but there's actually a lot going on beyond that. He's still calculating. He's still calculating. So
can we check how long he's taking? Because like we know that after 15 moves, after 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you just see ghosts. You don't see moves anymore. I think he's taking that much time already.
I think he has spent at least 15, 20 minutes. Because I think he was on about 70 minutes before. But we can take a look maybe at board 3. We haven't been there for a while. Or perhaps we could also take a look at Alexandra Prado, who is streaming this tournament.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, great. And I know that she's playing a woman FIDE master. And the woman FIDE master is actually one of the Women in Chess Foundation scholars. She is like a very promising young female player from England. So let's go back to the beginning. We have Sicilian defense and some hyper-accelerated dragon, which I find terrifying. I don't play this. But can be nice for black to get nice aggressive positions. But I mean, white had quite a hard time because she was playing down yesterday. This morning. She played 1772 rated player, and she unfortunately lost. So they're both two juniors, and she lost against this player. So she's playing down again against Alexandra.
She's minus 35 rating.
Yeah. I guess with the K40, it's tough.
Yes.
Yeah. But, you know,
the
I think that
is up and down all the time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a kid, you can win or lose 100 points in one tournament, which is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a kid, I never cared about the rating because, like, basically, it will just there where if you're playing a lot of tournaments, it will get there. So yeah, that's the last thing you should worry about in pleasure. Otherwise, it can be a big factor of your decisions to make. Even each move, you might make different decisions. Can we just go back a little bit, because like this is so weird position. Something went so wrong
for
here.
sure. So here I think main move is d6, not d5. So this is quite a big deviation. So we see that d5 here in our database has only been played 5 times ever, whereas d6 850. So it's the overwhelming main line to just play d6 here. And I'm wondering if this was some preparation to play d5, or if it's something that Alex just thought she would try. I'm not sure. But yes, d5, playing very, very energetically, and taking on e4. I guess yes, there's lots of pressure now.
Look at the time situation. When she played d5, she takes some time, right? The time can tell us a lot. So
yes, she spent 5 minutes, 5 minutes 52 seconds.
And for the next
d5.
move,
and next move, they both were spending a long time. So d5 clearly came as a surprise to Rida, because she spent 18 minutes, and Alex spends 21 minutes here to decide to make this capture. So she's thinking a long time. I guess she's deciding maybe does she want to take with the knight or with the pawn? Maybe this is...
Very often what happens when you prepare new opening, maybe this is new opening for Alexandra, you just mix up the line. That happens to me all the time. And actually it was really awkward situation. I started to play London. I enjoyed it. I spent so much time to go through it, but not enough time because so many lines there. It was my first tournament, and I didn't even play online before going to play. And I played a very strong tournament in Abu Dhabi, like 400 or 500 players, and all of them were like grandmasters, 160 players in India, and like my opponents were tough. So I started to play, like I had a good time. I won one very nice game. I'm playing another white with Czopor London, and then I see like Jobaba was there too, and we're both virgins. Of course, we're like observing each other's game. So very often he was going to my board and checking my game, right? And he was so visibly upset.
By your London?
Yes. I hated to play that. After I really stopped playing Jababa London in the middle, because like during the game, like he was visibly upset. It's the last thing you want to know, that you did something wrong, right? I thought I was doing great. I see his face. I was like, oh no. It's kind of the face like engine bar says -2 or something, like a very bad position. And then the worst part was like a dinner. So I was losing the game, going to dinner and whatever, like I was sad already. And then he was screaming at me. And like we Georgians, we're very emotional. Our language is also like, it's not French, right? So talking emotionally, people thought that he was screaming at me, which he was actually. But it was so embarrassing for me. I just stopped playing it. I just switched to my Catalan, because he screams at me when I play Catalan. And he was like, you cannot play long castle in this position. You should go short castle. Like how I know it, like when you play and you analyze it and you learn by the experience, you know next game. But like it was so new thing for me. He was totally screaming at me every single day that I had white pieces. I had once double white pieces. It was so bad. Like, this enough now. And he was like, check my games, and play like that. Yeah, very bad experience.
I think when you're like, I've had this too, when you're playing new opening, especially in classical chess, it's a big eye-opener for like feeling like the positions feel very different to what you're used to. And so first of all, I find classical chess to be a really good way to learn openings, because once you've been sitting there for like 4 or 5 hours, it's really stuck in your head, first of all. But second of all, you realize how little you know about this opening because you are sat there for 4 or 5 hours playing something you never played before. So yes, and Jobava London, I feel like it's very unique. It's not like a lot of other openings I find.
Never played Jobava London. When Jobava plays, like, he screams so much. It's like so rude. Very mean. But like also like when like most of us we study openings in computer, right, on Space, or like some courses. And when you see the actual board, it looks so different. Like it is different position, and you have to adjust the pieces first of all, and then all these things. I think that's what happened to Alexandra, because this is move 6 and 7. You don't think 25 minutes here, unless your opponent surprised you.
Yes, and I'm thinking maybe when she played this move d5, maybe she potentially overlooked knight e5, because obviously the alternative move of d6 very clearly stops the knight from ever coming here, or at least for temporarily. And so actually we have some more moves, and after bishop to d7, knight takes, of course, and white is having the bishop pair, which is always very nice. And now bishop g7, and it's not looking as scary. I'm wondering if there's something more aggressive to play, but I think that the bishop to g5 seems very normal. I guess here there are quite a few good moves. Like castles is the top move, but castles, developing the bishop. I guess you can take this pawn because it is attacked. Like I'm sure there are quite a few moves that are playable here.
Yeah. I was wondering if there is a move like bishop d2 and long castle to annoy this queen on d7.
This is what I'm learning from you, from this and the Jobava story. I'm learning that you like long castles. Okay. Long castles is fun. Yes, totally. So here, if something like bishop g7 and long castles, this looks very exciting. I guess black has to castle.
This is what happened to me. Like, engine is screaming at me right now, like Joey.
Yes, engine is giving black a slight edge. I guess you have these two semi-open files here. But I mean, like king b1 and white has the bishop pair. So like I think as a human it makes sense, right?
Yeah, it looks scary, especially like it depends who's your opponent. Like if your opponent is like really like how to say, when you are a like younger player, I think with white we have like 12 years old.
Yes, she's very young, which definitely definitely under 16.
Yeah, and she's a higher rating, so like she can try, and like I was scared of her. Like,
yes,
I would be in this. Yeah.
But instead she played a bit more conservatively, I think. Well, she hasn't long castled yet. I guess there's still time. Bishop to g7 and rook to d1. So, okay, so she's not long castling, of course, but this makes a lot of sense too. And now queen e6 is the move that has been played by Alexandra, and this is the best move. Basically saying that we are gonna potentially try to keep hold of this pawn if you let me. If castles, I guess with these two bishops here, there's always the chance of captures, of changes happening. And castles, bishop takes is one way, I guess, to ensure that black has a bit worse pawn structure. And I guess you will play a rook here and get this pawn back. There's no rush, especially when the queen is the defender.
Yeah, and like in the end of the day, white gets pawn back. It will be still equal position, and black can start to hit the pawns as well, like rook b1, rook b8 to go after b2 pawn. And if you move this pawn, the dragon bishop will be very dangerous. Yeah.
And I guess this is why maybe we go for short castles in this position, just because of this dragon bishop. And I think if you've played against a lot of dragons, maybe you start to fear the dragon bishop. I don't know. Like I said, I'm yes.
Yeah, in next life I will do the dragon tattoo, big tattoo, like massive tattoo.
What is it you're playing against d4?
I play Sicilian. And I have a backup. I have a backup as well.
But not Dragon Sicilian, or
not Dragon Sicilian, but I really encourage my students who start to play, like not the beginners, but like somewhere the club players. It's very nice opening. It is a bit dangerous, like after some time, but yeah. It was like I overheard one conversation about Jules Gambit. We talked about her, like she's very sweet, and like she also like I said that she likes to read about things and like search the information. And we played a tournament, and we had a dinner, and she's like so openly suggesting Donchenko, who's like 26, like almost 2700 guys, like, oh, you should play Dragon. It's so nice. That level 2700 people don't play Dragon, I guess, anymore. And it was like so sweet. And Donchenko was like clicking like this. Yeah.
Like, thank you, but I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, he was just like he had a smile, like this, just like he didn't say anything. It was so funny situation. Like he was like, yeah, like I can show you this. So she was convincing, but like for that level, I think it's really good. Like Jill says that, so sharp position, and you can checkmate your opponent. Very nice, actually. So, by the way, I have the video open, and we have 95 on the first move.
Okay, so let's play that take a look. So 95 after 37 minutes and 58 seconds. Wow, 40-minute think for 95 here. So it is overwhelmingly the best move. And I guess I'm just hopeful here that the next couple of moves will come quickly from Bobby. Like he will have calculated a lot of things here. Yeah. He will not have just said 95 and we see what happens.
Yeah, you just like your next moves will be just faster from now. Like
yes, exactly.
Bishop d6, then you have to take on d5, like of the options.
Exactly, and now he's playing by far the most challenging line here to black. So hopefully he'll get some of that time back, because black is going to have to calculate all of these tactical ideas that you mentioned, Cassie, with taking on d5 and the later bishop f7 ideas. So this is a very nice position to be in as white, having made these calculations, hopefully being confident that you have the more active position. That, I mean, he is at least going to win a pawn, but definitely has the initiative as well. And he looks, I'm looking at the live stream, I think he looks pretty chill now. He was deep in thought before, but yeah, seems fine. His opponent has just been like the same the whole stream, so I have no idea. We can't see his opponent's face, but his body language has not changed. I find there are some chess players you play against who are really easy to read. It's very easy to know what they're thinking when you're playing against them. And then some of them, you have no idea at all. And I guess this is a skill and in and of itself. If you want to be a good chess player, good poker player, any kind of game where there's some psychology.
Yeah, I think by the time you're getting this as an experience, like you know how to sit still, and yeah, that comes from the practice. Like we start even like when I look at the tournaments or like myself when I was playing these tournaments, the kids tournaments, like you can see at least 10 kids crying one round. So they can hold the emotions, and they're crying right away when they're lost without resigning. And by the time the same kids, they will be biggest poker players actually, like Kavin poker face. So you're used by the time, and also we have some examples that are leading the opponents to the wrong direction. Like for instance, Hikaru makes so many faces during the during the game. Not necessarily he has a bad position or anything. So yeah, I think it's just a skill, and sometimes everyone has their own stuff. What about you? Do you have some strategies when you're lost? Do you
know what
still confidently?
I noticed because I'm streaming my tournaments, I noticed that I'm always looking very unhappy even if I'm winning. Like I'm always looking like I'm lost in any position, and I'm not sure if it works in my favor or if it's a bad thing, but even if I'm winning, I'm having a grumpy face, and I think it's my focus face is very grumpy, and I guess it's very like serious, you know. And it's funny because I'm always, if I'm playing against a kid, I'm always trying to be very nice to them before the game starts, you know, like if they've forgotten a pen or like if they need their dad or something like this, I'm always trying to be very nice to them. And then I just imagine what they're thinking when the game starts, and my face goes like full on angry, grumpy, like evil lady mode. And I think I don't even realize I'm doing it. And I noticed that also.
You see it after.
Yes, I see it afterwards. I notice also that I'm much more nervous when I'm winning. And sometimes if it's like a very, very big deal for me, like if I'm winning against someone higher rated, then sometimes I'll start to shake. Like, I can't help it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? Like the whole concept of playing chess is like a journey for me. Like I love all these kind of feelings, and there was a time like with chess for like 5-6 years, not even played any single game, and there was the feeling that I was missing the mostly. These like different emotions throughout the one tournament, that you can just go through so many things, and of course there are like some games that you're very confident and you're winning and everything, but there are some games that you're so stressed, it's so tense that sometimes the moment when I resign is so it's so good, you know. It's so good letting you know it's just finished. That your supper is done there in that day. But then there is also another feelings too, and all this combination together, it's just like like I recently added like 2 days ago, I added the video for Ivan Truk against Narodetsky. That happened in New York. It was one of the most weird experience for me. Like it was too much emotional for me because I saw first time Ivan Truk crying for like 2
Yes, I
hours.
saw this video as well.
It was very difficult. Like you see chess legend suffering so much. He was just crying so much out of loud. The acoustics, it was like huge venue. And then we had Danny also on the other side his faces was like not less tragic than Ivanchuk's reaction. And like I just like I had this in my phone. I did not really posted it right away because I was feeling so bad of what happened there emotionally that I thought maybe I should not because it's funny because I was just walking. I was looking for some for some interviews and everything, and I saw the game and I saw them playing, and I was like, oh my god, this is a great game, and I started to record it, and then they started to make all this craziness. And then when Ivanchuk started to cry, I stopped recording because like I didn't know I didn't know what to do. And I have not really published it, but then I think it's some kind of history that you keep. And it happened. It's not something that you made it up, so it happened, and why not others keep it as well and see like how sensitive this can be. Even though it's on my Instagram, I barely see it. Like it's so hard for me to watch it every time. And somehow we're going through it, maybe not as much as Ivanchuk and Nardiski was going through, but like we all, no matter which tournament we play, no matter how important is the game, like every person still goes through with these emotions.
Yes, and this when I saw this video,
chess is considered
I was thinking how you can play chess for such a long time, your whole life, and you can be such a professional player and such a legend as Ivanchuk is, you know, one of the best chess players ever, and you can still get this feeling after it doesn't go your way, you know, where it's so devastating. And it made me feel very...
It was a very difficult moment.
Yes, it's horrible to watch, but it made me feel very vindicated in my feelings that when I feel this way in chess, I know that, you know, it's kind of this universal feeling that kind of every chess player gets. Yeah. But it's horrible. It's horrible, but we're all having it.
Yeah, it is horrible. And also, like, New York was when they had a lot of spectators coming there and watching the games, and the tickets were sold out, like, time before. And a lot of spectators saw like way too much actually.
Yes.
They were just there in the center of everything, like, you know how spectacular this event was. And still like when this happened and he started to cry, there were like arbiters around and like people who were like so shocked, but there was like no person who can make decisions to, I don't know, to cover him or to take him out. Obviously it was like very like he had to leave. And I sent the message to one of the organizers and I was like, Ivanchuk playing venue now. And when they came, they started to cover Ivanchuk, so no one could make the videos or photos because people started to record him. And we had volunteers. So if like the 3 volunteers started to cover him, and if someone was getting closer with phone or camera, they were just like spreading the hands and like not saying anything, but just covering him. But still hearable very much. And like we brought him tea with honey. I brought him tea with honey, and I brought him a lot of fruits and everything. And he was so sweet. He was eating and he was still crying.
Oh. That's so sweet.
Like for 2 hours, it was like the last 3 rounds. He was crying so much and saying that he has nothing in life and everything, and it was a bit painful to watch. But I hope he recovers it at this point. Absolutely. He's playing in other tournaments right now.
Yes, I think the best way to get get past these emotions is to keep playing.
Yeah.
We have Bishop D6.
Oh, look at this! Response. Bishop D6 has happened.
And very, very fast played in 4 seconds. We have Knight takes D5. So all of this was calculated. Move. Yes, and played immediately.
The first brilliant move today.
Yes, double exclamation point from chess.com. Brilliant move. So this is very nice to see, and just means that he was calculating everything as we thought. I think now maybe his opponent will go into the think tank about this. I guess you will
Yeah, this
probably
is the moment when he
quickly
has to
find out
think.
that he needs to take on d5.
Mhm.
And if it's good for you, we might go to a very short break
Okay.
for a couple of minutes. Mainly because I think these cams are seeming to be done. I think we're all fine here. Our cams are fine, but the player cams, I'm no longer seeing them. So
Let's get them back.
yes.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, perfect. So yes, we will go to a quick break and see you guys in just a couple of minutes. Thank you, Diana, for the raid. Katie is just on a short break still, but I thought I would come back. Thank you, Diana, for the raid. Unfortunately, it seems that there are some issues with the player cameras. And so the organizers are gonna try and fix that. In all cases, I'm hoping it will be better by tomorrow. But with things like this, I think it's the first time running commentary for this event. You never know how things are going to go, and this is the first stream, so there are always going to be some teething issues. But both Katie and I lost access to those player cameras. So instead you have bigger Lula and bigger Katie, or bigger Katie's chair, because Katie will be back very soon. Thank you so much, Diana. So this is really interesting, guys. For those of you who were here to see before with this nice knight takes d5 idea, what we talked about, and Katie's back. Cool, perfect. What's up, Katie? It's fine. I just came off the break because we got a raid, so I just came off it early. But don't worry, it was literally about 20 seconds. So as we lost access to the...
and it's forever.
Yeah. So what did you make?
The latte matcha.
Ooh, nice. I love matcha.
Yeah.
So actually we have very exciting thing is that Black, instead of taking on d5, took on e5. And now this position we get where, as you correctly stated, knight takes f6 comes with check. So this is worse position for Black than bishop takes on d5.
In the game, right? No, bishop e5.
Yes, so bishop e5 was played, is what I have on DGT. Oh. So this is interesting. It was played after 7 minutes, so not a long time calculating. But I guess Black decided this was the best choice, clearly. And now knight takes f6 check is played, yes. This is the best continuation. So queen takes f6.
Yeah, that's a possibility. After queen f6, we can take first the bishop on e5 to hit the queen, and then when like rupture set back, we can take the bishop on b7. We got pawn. We have perfect pieces. The pawn on c5 is also hanging, and it's a weakness, and it's just an easy game for white.
Yes, exactly. So, of course, when we're going to be up some material, we want to trade the pieces, so we're up this pawn. We have the very, very super strong light squared bishop compared to this knight. So this is like the opposite of the other game where you have great bishop, bad knight. The other game we were looking at, you had a bishop that was not so good and the knight that was the better piece.
Yeah.
So this is very nice. And this c5 pawn is going to be very weak as well.
Yeah, so basically it is very important to evaluate the position based on the pawn structure. because the
Yes.
pawn structure can define so much in the position. And this one is open position. White has, of course, white choose to have bishop in very open position. A question: we don't have cameras. I don't see them.
No, the cameras seem to have gone down. So for now, for our stream, I just made our
Hmm.
cameras bigger so that the viewers get to see us
Very
in
good.
HD, but unfortunately not the cameras. But I think that hopefully the cameras will be sorted by tomorrow. Tomorrow we should also maybe have more cameras as well. It's possible, which would be nice. But I did send a message to the organizers about the cameras. We have a couple of moves played. We have queen takes f6 and bishop takes e5. All of these moves being played instantly because they are relatively forcing. And now queen takes e5, I assume, will be played very quickly as well. I guess you could play rook takes e5. But I think that at least with queen takes, you're maybe having some pressure on e2, but I guess.
The thing, when you take the bishop on b7, then you'd get this bishop on f3 to guard the pawn on e2.
Yes, that's true after it comes back.
So, yeah. So,
Yes.
white
And
is
queen
just
takes bishop, bishop takes
this
bishop is
position.
played, of course. And I'm sure that white is very happy that they spent that long 37 minutes calculating everything to have this very comfortable position. And rook a d8 played.
I was wondering how Yovi is doing actually. We were basically focused so much on first three
Yes.
boards.
Mhm.
Maybe we can also just check
Of
how
course.
Jovanka is doing if we can.
Yes, let's do
maybe
that.
tell you.
Okay, I have it up. So it looks like she has a good position. So let's go back to the beginning. And we have a Caro-Kann. I used to play the Caro-Kann. It was the first opening I ever learned, and I bought her book on the Caro-Kann and the Slav back when I was trying to play these, and I find them very difficult openings. But I know that she is master of the Caro-Kann, so I'm very interested to see.
I'm so surprised that your first opening is a Caro-Kann.
Do you know why? It was
That's
because
really
of Gotham
tough.
Chess. It was Gotham Chess because he was doing his 10-minute opening videos. This is around the time I started chess.
Yeah.
And he was like, at this time, he was the only person really making beginner content. And and basically, what the first thing I learned in chess was the fried liver, like when somebody tries to do the fried liver on you. And this terrified me, of course, as a complete beginner. And so in my head, I was saying, I want to avoid this at all costs. I'm not going to play e5 because I don't want the fried liver to happen to me. Now, of course, I know it's not a big deal. Of course, you can prevent it very easily. But at the time, it was very scary. I had, 600 ELO. And so I looked for an alternative, and the first thing that came up on YouTube was Gotham Chess Caro-Kann. And I think that actually became a lot more popular of an opening, and a lot of beginners started to play the Caro-Kann. But it is such a grandmaster opening, like it's such a tough opening to play. Yeah. It's so hard.
It is difficult. It is really, really difficult. But this fried liver of it, like these traps are so well known already how to deal with that. Like I was trying different content, especially when I'm at home. I want to do more because like from the chess tournaments, of course, I have the events and everything, and I was like thinking maybe I should do the traps. Yes. But those are so silly traps. I just can't do it. I recorded it and I watched it, and I was like, I cannot do it anymore because like there's like so many options. There's so many options, and you have to play only bad move to get the trap. Like,
but somehow these videos they're going viral. Like these are the chess videos I see going viral as well. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess something that is hard to acknowledge if you are a chess player, if you've been playing chess for a long time, is how many people are really entry-level beginners. Because there there are more people now than ever playing chess, and so there are more people now than ever who are just learning how the pieces move and who are, you know, between 1 and 600, and this is kind of the level that they're staying at because they're just playing casually, and that's totally fine. And so there's this huge audience for these traps, but I totally agree, like no chess player who is, you know, who is actually going to a tournament or, you know, reading chess books is falling for these traps. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I have this camera here actually. I have a few videos. I'm recording the video and I'm just laughing, struggling big time for thinking of content. But Caro-Kann is not obviously the beginner's opening. That's for sure.
I agree. It's so hard. But I've seen some really nice Jovanka games where she has had great wins. So I'm excited to see, you know, what she's doing in this one. So you can take a look. We have 2 knights attack. And 2 knights attack can be a very aggressive way to play as white. You have to actually be very careful with how you're playing this. So bishop to g4. And then main line of Caro-Kann would have had d4 in it. And this is a bit different because white has not spent the tempo playing d4. So h4 and bishop takes. And as black in the Caro-Kann, you are often giving up the bishop for the knight. It happens in many of the variations because you're going to create this light squared pawn structure. So you put all of these pawns here and you're getting rid of the light squared bishop. But I think this is another reason why I didn't like it so much. I have my cat back, just here. This is a different cat. I have 2, and this one is a different one.
Looks
from before.
Really gorgeous.
You have seen both of them in today's stream. Usually they're not coming to say hello to the stream.
Wow, so cute. What's the name?
Her name is Mirabelle. But I call her Mimo. Like every cat has 100 names. No cat is ever called by its real name.
Yeah.
Do you have pets?
So cute. I used to have in Georgia, and he passed away last year.
I'm sorry.
At the age of 4 only, the dog.
Oh wow.
And I loved him so much. We even have our emojis on Twitch of my dog, and yeah. And it was a quite painful experience.
I'm so sorry.
A new dog. Yeah, it was so bad. So bad. Like, I would never understood this feeling unless I experienced it myself, because like I know a lot of people had it, and it's like a family member.
Yes.
But yeah, look at your cat. Do they play Caro-Kann?
No. Thankfully not. So I actually like this kind of position for white because you get the bishop pair. And now knight f6 and bishop e2. And okay, we're playing with g6. And I think you have to be a very, very flexible player to play the Caro-Kann, because there are some g6 systems and they're so different to all of the like basic Caro-Kann stuff. And this is the kind of thing you don't learn in the Gotham Chess 10-minute opening video. And so I was way out of my depth as soon as a different variation was played and I realized that the g6 lines are the best ones. I was way out. But you have to, really be able to switch it up and play with this kingside fianchetto. So castles, and now it's like looking less Caro-Kann-y, I guess. It's quite a different variation to what we see most of the time. And knight b1 here, which is very fun, because white has all of their pieces here, but apparently they are completely happy, according to the engine. I'm not familiar with this line at all. It seems to be very rare. We have 3 games ever, so
there's no any better square for this knight, I guess. Like
no, yes, there's nowhere else really that it can go. But now we have e5, and black actually has quite a lot of space, and these pawns clamping down in the center, which is not something you usually see black having in the Caro-Kann. So that's fun. This is not what you'd expect.
I'm a bit surprised, to be honest, because when you give up light square bishop, you want to settle your position, the pawns on the light squares, like you mentioned that. And now
Exactly.
it has dark square bishop, and putting on the dark squares, that's a bit surprising. But on the other hand, it's a quite strong center that she's controlling.
No, I totally agree. It feels like the opposite of what you're taught when you're learning chess, you know? You don't want your bishop staring at pawns like this, but I guess taking this space, it's not super easy for white. I guess they have to maybe undermine at some point with c3 or something like this. And so yes, c3 being top engine move here, but knight d2 makes a lot of sense. We're just developing our pieces. And h5, very fun move. I love when people just decide to play h4, h5. I love to see it, because sometimes I do this and I never believe in it when I'm doing it, but
I should always believe it and like have the space. You believe.
Yeah. Okay, and bishop to f1. Okay. This is interesting. I guess you don't have a lot of space to play with here, so you need to make room for...
You want to go knight on f8, f1, and then bishop goes on f1, so this is so strange. Maybe what white wants to do with bishop f1 is something like g3, bishop g2, and then knight to f1, but still knight can't go on g3.
Yes, possible. It's very slow, isn't it? I guess because of the locked center, both sides are having time to do this. Black hasn't castled yet, hasn't made a decision, and now h4 from Black. So Jovanka is really going for it, and this is fun to see. And okay, so b3 makes sense. We need to get our bishop, but it's kind of hard. These are kind of uncomfortable pawns. But you have to develop somehow. And a4. And I guess you can get this bishop on a3, which is quite nice. If Black doesn't get their king. Okay. Knight f8, bishop a3.
I like this move.
And knight to
I like
e6
this knight f8, knight e6.
Yes, this is a very nice maneuvering going on. Knight c4. And yeah, actually, White's pieces are finding some homes, developing. And so actually, I play the French defense, and I know a lot of people hate it, but it's very common, that you can leave your king in the center for a while and castle later. And I guess there are some big similarities between the French and the Caracan. So not castling is something that you can actually do sometimes in these positions. But then again, you're not usually having pawn on e5, so it's a bit different.
Yeah.
Okay, a5. This is some like alpha 0, h5, a5 chess.
Yeah, that's actually the reason why Black didn't castle here, because after a long castle, White was about to play a5 anyway.
Yes.
And some moves like knight b6 would be that you can consider always to sacrifice. b4, b5 is out there too. So that's why she just kept this king in this.
Yes, exactly. And I don't think this king will castle at any point. Knight to h5. These kinds of chess games I find so interesting to see, because as somebody who is much less experienced in chess, I'm always feeling uncomfortable when my king is going to be in the center for a lot of the game. And when you have such a concrete structure to play around, I love to see strong players kind of showing how to do this. So these are games that I find super interesting.
Wow, you are the positional players. You like the strategies and positions like this. So, who's your favorite chess player?
This is a hard question. So, I think I I don't really have one in terms of their games. It's very hard not to say Judith Polgar just because she is amazing.
It's a woman. Yeah.
But for actual like games, I don't think there's any one player where I've studied enough games to really say, you know, this is my favorite player for their playing style. But absolutely, I'm a bit more positional. When I started to play, I picked up things like positional ideas much quicker than I did with tactics. It took me a lot longer to learn these tactical ideas, which I think are things that beginners often get very quickly. And like I said a bit earlier, it was harder for me to learn to be like an attacker, to like go for a kingside attack. So yeah, I'm not really sure. Oh, it looks kind of like we have the player cameras back. So I'm going to see if I can switch.
I was just thinking maybe Gotham had always the positional openings or videos, and that's why you like it more.
I honestly, I don't know what it was. I don't know how it happened to me. But yeah, I ended up being more positional.
It's quite possible to switch it. Like if you, from now on, if you do a lot of tactics, if you see a lot of sacrifices and attacking games, you will fall in love. So that means that you have seen a lot of games, a lot of beautiful games. And you liked it so much. You can always have this transaction from one to another.
Yeah, I think you're right about this. I think I just need to study some Judith Polgar attacking games, and I'll get better at it. Okay, and you're seeing the cameras again. You're having them work for you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Me too. I'm gonna switch to this one, which is our general camera. It's a big venue, actually. I didn't realize it was gonna be like this. I thought it was gonna be in a hotel. A lot of events are in hotels these days, but this is like a big sports hall.
Convenient.
Yeah.
I like to have tournaments in the hotels because, like, you just go out from your room, take everything, go.
Yes, this is the best.
For my high heels. Yes, I don't know if you like high heels at the chess tournaments, but like I wore so many high heels, and I don't like to walk with my high heels outside.
Yeah, if I don't have to walk with them on, it's perfect. But if I have to, go outside and then no.
Yeah,
but it's always nice when you're staying at the venue.
Yeah. But I guess it's a big. So you have been in this place before, but you have never played this tournament.
Exactly. So I've been to the Isle of Wight before, just for vacation, but I never played this tournament. I don't think this tournament has been running for many years. I don't think it's been running for a very, very long time, but the organizer is very enthusiastic, and I met him. He's really great. So I'm guessing that they're going to be doing this kind of big tournament every year. I'll just maybe skip forward a bit in this game because actually they're all the way up to move 33.
Yeah, you can go there. Yes.
And
actually, I learned about this tournament when I was in London during the Global Chess League. Because I did a lot of play, and then you always said I will play this, and it's I will play too. So we wanted to play, but three of us, I think Joey is the one who actually made it.
No, it seems like a very nice tournament. There are a lot of strong players, and it's always nice, I guess, when you are a strong player, that there's Masters section and different under 2000 sections, so you're never playing anyone who's too low. I would assume. I don't know because I'm playing in the under 2000s. But did you see this exchange here? Bishop takes f4 and allowing this strong knight to come to f4 for Jovanka is quite nice. And now rerouting. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so knight to d2 and then knight back to c4 immediately. maybe realizing that you have to keep an eye
Sometimes,
on a5.
yeah, sometimes when you play something for the first time, or just you're not very much familiar, you don't know what's your plan in this type of positions, and you're just making the moves and trying all the possibilities, and you don't like it, and you're coming back as well. So with so close position and not many pieces on the board, it is quite difficult to find a plan here for white. I think it's just a pass move, and also the pawn on a5 is hanging, so he just got back to guard the pawn on a5.
Yes, I always think it takes a lot of like strength to admit that you maybe shouldn't have moved the piece, and putting it right back. Sometimes it really is just the best move to put the piece back to where it was before. But it's a very hard thing to do as well sometimes, because you feel like you wasted.
Oh, you don't have to share. I don't have to have this kind of feeling of to feel shame about that, because it's your game. In the end of the day, it is just your game, and you will do the things the way you want to do. And if you consider this is the best move to do, just for it. So I think to admit that, so you couldn't find the plan. Unless you know that you're not losing, it is just fine to make the moves like that.
And the engine is giving black a little bit of an advantage here, and it does seem hard, like you said, for white to come up with a plan. So let's see. We have this very strong bishop now on c3, and okay, b5. So this is allowing en passant, and I guess you're opening up the a file. And the engine was liking c5
because black believes. I love that too.
I think
black is thinking that white can never get the a file.
Yes, because of the
bishop on c3 controlling. Yeah, so that's why she played so openly this, so freely to go with b5.
Yes, and all of these moves here are played quite quickly for both sides. Like these past couple of moves and the next couple of moves are all played within just a matter of seconds. So takes and then takes, and now knight back, because there is no more threat. Of course, there is no pawn. So this is interesting, but I think I guess white does have the a file right now, and if black wants to contest it, it does just allow white to trade off a piece, and when white is having much less space than black, trading off a piece is not so bad. You know? So queen to e7, and some slow rerouting. Like you said earlier, this idea.
G5.
Queen g5.
I think queen g5 f5 might be a threat here, because you have a checkmate on g2 if you move the bishop, and also the pawn on h3 is in.
Can you play?
It's actually very funny if you play knight h2 here, because after f5, like knight h2,
f5,
bishop cannot leave because you lose the pawn on h3.
Right.
And when you go knight to f3, can play queen to f6 and drop the bishop to g4. It's so funny, right?
Wow. Yes. This is really uncomfortable threat.
Yeah. There is a check on a7, but we can play king somewhere, I don't know.
Yes.
King to f8
somewhere,
or g8 or something.
See, now I'm seeing that you're an aggressive attacking player because of this nice queen g5 and these attacking ideas. And it was not played in the game.
Aggression. Do you know how many people told me this during the commentary?
But it's so nice. I love it because
you're so
I'm not
good.
sure. I love it. And these are, real threats and real lines. And just because they weren't played on the board doesn't mean that the players didn't consider them and calculate them. So I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe I wouldn't have seen this idea with the threat, because I think after this I would have just seen knight f3, queen back, and I'm okay. But really, there is the problem of the pawns on g6, g5.
Yeah.
But
And
actually,
also,
black
there's no rush to
allowed
play
this trade.
f5. Yeah,
Yes, that's
there's no
true.
rush to play f5, and you want to control the. So you never know what's happening after rook to a7. It's sometimes difficult to go pawns front and leave your king alone there when the rook can get on the 7th rank. So Jovet's idea is here to just make sure that the last active piece that white has should be off the board, and then she'll
Yes.
do whatever she
Yes,
wants.
exactly. So now after the trade, there is no possibility of infiltration on the 7th rank. This is a really nice point. And yeah, white really has just been hopping this knight around a couple of times. And I guess they've probably seen that after this idea, the bishop really is too stuck on g4, and they can't risk this bishop being trapped somehow. So, okay, b5, just stopping the knight from being improved.
That's a fine move to me, yeah.
Yes, and I think that it makes a lot of sense, because really white doesn't have a whole lot to do. Okay, they can put the knight on f3, I guess, is the only place the knight can go now. But like, again, you're controlling a1, you have all of this space, you have, I guess, still these ideas of queen g5 and f5. So I think the computer is calling it a miss because you can play f5 immediately, but realistically speaking, it's not like you're giving white some big chance. What does it say after f5?
f5 takes
just bishop to f3 is what the
if I take the pawn on f5, I don't see the tactic there. Like
takes, and if we take again,
oh, there's something.
Well, I guess
Bad. You start with queen g5, bishop d2, queen d2, queen g5, bishop g4, and knight h3 check, and you win the queen. Takes queen g5, g4, or bishop b4, doesn't matter, because there's a checkmate on g2, and you play knight h3. And you lose the queen.
This is amazing.
Oh wow, that's very deep.
That's disgusting. Wow, that's really nice. Okay, so wow, I don't think I would have seen this idea. Okay, so king f1 was played. I guess noting that there is a threat coming potentially with queen to g5. But I guess actually what the engine thought was such a miss here was that this knight f3 does just prevent queen g5. It's just that simple, as that the queen can no longer come here, and you can't have this direct threat. So I guess that's why it's the overarching preferred move. And bringing the rook in. Okay, this is nice. We have some like longer term pressure if you can't bring the queen away. It's nice. Now knight to f3. Queen to f6. Okay, still not going for f5. I guess I guess Jovanka is worried about opening up too much. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I guess she feels like she has such dominance on this side that she does not need to create anything here, but
there's really weird suggestion by the engine. After f5, e takes f5. You don't play e4 right away.
E4. Okay.
And when the takes, you take with a queen.
Okay. And now there is the pin to the knight, and also this is a threat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to go for this. Actually, like, why to
Is
complicate
it?
so much? I have such a
Yes.
pleasant position.
Yeah, it's very complicated and it's a lot sharper than the current position where white really doesn't have anything to do. So I guess it actually makes a lot of sense when you already have this beautiful rook on a2 and the bishop controlling all of the dark squares. Why take a risk when you already have the nicer position? I guess the situation is that white has more time. Okay, so bishop to d7 played. King back to f8, and now bishop back to g4. So some shuffling going on. And this is the live position that we have now. So bishop g4 was played very quickly. I think white is definitely aware of their time advantage. And just to remind everyone watching, there is no extra time in this game. The players are on move 35, but they're not going to get an extra half an hour. So it does actually become quite a big deal when you get a big time advantage towards the end. And yeah.
Yeah, it is. I don't like when my time goes down to 20 minutes, then you see the seconds ticking on the clock, and I feel so stressed. So if I have a control of my game, like if an advantage, I always keep it up to like 20 minutes plus, because I don't like when I see the seconds on the clock.
I hate to have I hate it too, but I'm very bad for this. I'm using a lot of time. I think my fear is that if I'm not using my time and I make a blunder, then why didn't I use my time? Because I could have avoided this blunder so easily. But then you get into time trouble, and of course blunders happen anyway because you're out of time. So
yeah, it's always good to have a right time management. I'm the player who uses all the time. Like, I'm getting the worst position in the opening, and I suffer whole game. Handling it, not losing necessarily. Like, I'm getting extra 30 minutes, and always the last person like finishing the game. Wherever I go, I'm the last person to finish the game. And sometimes I'm thinking like it is like physically painful to play every single day long games, like 5-6 hours. That sometimes when you are like worse, just try something, like go for risk more, because you will lose it anyway and lose faster, and go and rest. Like, can you believe, like, sometimes I'm reaching that point when I'm just telling myself, like, let it go. Lose the game, don't fight until like very, very end, because I'm just consuming so much of my energy for like each game that then fire back so much in the last rounds. I just don't have enough energy. So it's so that's why like we have a lot of men players making draws in the open tournaments so fast, because of that reason, to go and rest and save the energy. With the draw, you're still keeping your positions among the leaders. You're not dropping down, because when you're playing, you're risking to lose as well. And then when they have chance, they win. And for women, we just, I think, statistics don't make that much of like arranged draws, like offering draw and accepted draw. And that's why it is a little bit more for me to play these 9 rounds tournaments. So much time.
Yes, especially when you're playing with time control and you have that extra 30 minutes, and then you're playing much longer games.
Yeah.
And when you're playing double rounds. So I guess for this tournament, there are quite a few double rounds, but at least you're not having the super, super long games. So you get 4-hour game, maybe, but at least it's not going to 5 or 6. I think maybe Jovanka is having a think now. Maybe we can go back to board 1, and we can take a look through the top couple of boards. So to board 1 with Bobby Cheng. So this is where we left off with rook a to d8, and of course bishop to d5 is necessary to block.
If white takes the rook, if white takes pair of rook for queen, then there's a tactical motive, I guess. Like after taking, there's queen c7. or queen e7, something like that. Maybe not so pleasant.
Yes, this
Um,
is really unpleasant. And then queen takes b7, and
yeah.
I'm really surprised actually that the engine is still giving +1 for white, because this is all of a sudden a much less fun position to play.
Because look, like I play rook e8 now. I want to play rook d8. I'm
Yes,
getting knight back.
you want to.
And the queen is so badly.
That's true.
I can't guard my
Yes.
knight.
Yes, that's true for sure. But I don't think we have this problem, because we have bishop to d5 played, and knight to e6, getting the knight back into the game. Queen to c4, stepping out of the pin. Knight to g5. And now, what was played? We have h4, just kicking the knight. So this is quite nice, because the knight has not really any nice place to go other than back.
Yeah, and if you go back, I think I will just take this knight off. Bishop e6. You have to read the pawn structure even more. Yeah, for the pawn.
Yes, because yes, exactly. So f takes, or even if you play queen takes, you can trade, and then ruin the pawn structure anyway. So this is
you lose the pawn on c5 too.
Yes, this is very nice. Being up 2 pawns, Bobby Cheng would win this no problem, I think. But this is the position that we are at here, is knight back to e6, and Bobby is thinking. So at least he got that time back on the clock. They're both down to about 22, 23 minutes now. So it was worth taking the time to think, because I think it's always worth it if you end up in the winning position, right? So
yeah.
So there's no, like we were saying earlier, there's no good in playing quickly if you're then having a losing position. So I guess he was just deciding if he wants to simplify taking on e6, or if he wants to, I don't know, just make some improving moves. And he has played e3, so very safe move, small improving move, I guess. Deciding, buying some time before he decides if he wants to trade the knight, I guess. What do you think?
It's also fine. I like move e3. Somehow stops knight getting on d4, because knight is quite tricky piece, and you can always have something. As long as you have knight on the board, you have some hope. And he doesn't want to go to the rook endgame. Rook endgame has kind of tendency to be like, to have some chance to make a draw. So he's just waiting his opponent to make now the decision, like what's going to be next. Because I always want to play bishop e6 and ruin the pawn structure. The pawn on c5 is weak. And yeah, like what's your next move? I have perfect position, perfect pawn structure. This is the position you want to have every day. Like you can win it like 10 out of 10 probably.
Yes, it's a really nice position. I guess maybe Bobby is just saying, I have great pieces, like all of my pieces are on their best square. You can't move your knight anywhere. You can't really activate any piece better. So what are you going to do? And this is something I think that strong players do all the time when they're playing low-rated players, is they just wait for their opponent to make a mistake. And
they're good at waiting.
Yeah, exactly. We can take it to board 2 if you like.
Let's do that.
Because we haven't looked at board 2 in quite a long time, actually. So board 2. So last here we were at h6. And this was quite a while ago, so we've got 10 moves to look through. We've got g3, which was actually, I think, one of the top moves, which is an interesting move. My cat is back. And f5. Okay, so he's played f5, albeit the engine doesn't like it, but he has played f5. So he has got his his
Oh, that's so
King's
cute.
Indian attack in the end. But knight to h4 was placed. I guess this is the
You said
idea behind
G3.
g3.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is
There we go.
nice. This is nice. Of course, this is a threat. I'm sure this is not going to happen in the game. Knight e7, of course not. And now, wow, okay, we have our second brilliant move of the day. This is really nice. So knight takes b7, double exclamation mark. And after bishop takes, knight takes, we are obviously having the threat to take and fork the knight, with the knight, the king, the rook, and the queen, which would be
This is
very
a great
nice.
master sacrifice. Very nice.
This
Wow.
is really, really nice. And actually, this is the 2200 who is currently outplaying his grandmaster opponent.
Wow, I have to do some
yes.
research. Who is he?
Yes.
He's 20 years old from Italy.
Wow. Okay, and how old is Sebastian? Sebastian Bogner.
Sebastian is 34.
Okay.
And yeah, he actually, yeah, we talked about that he switched to Federation.
Yes.
He's from Germany. And he's one of the top Swiss players. But like, to be honest, I don't want to be harsh on him. Like, I was very like, my first reaction when I saw A5 was like, why he play that move? Like, he had a bit inaccuracies, right, on the way. That happens sometimes when you underestimate your opponents.
Yes, exactly. So I'm very curious as to see if he has managed to get out of this situation. So g5, so he's trying to remove the attacker. And now knight takes f5. Of course, you can go for this. And trying to trade off the rook. So this is still quite nice though, because I would say that white's king is a lot safer than black's king. And this trade, okay.
Well, I have the article open about the player from White being so high, Leisa. And it seems like they have a big family. And there's an article about some conflict, some incident actually.
Really?
And yeah, wow, it is actually on Mail News. So yeah, I think we should do more research. I guess maybe he'll win today, and we can come back tomorrow with more information. Because like I'm not sure if I can read it out now.
Yes.
Unless we're sure this is the person we're talking about.
I mean, I think there is a strong chance that he will, at the very least, make a draw here, even if he doesn't manage to capitalize on his initiative. But he's got 2 passed pawns. Currently, F is blockaded, but there's always the chance of the A pawn running, and this D6 pawn is a bit weak, being babysat by the queen right now. So A5 with the tempo on the queen is very nice. Okay, and F4, and it's crazy that you can have this advantage, and then the engine, when you play a move, the engine says no, and it takes your advantage away. So okay,
the engine is so disappointing.
The engine is really tough, but I guess in this kind of position where you clearly have some very nice like long-term positional advantages, it's hard still to know, how are you going to transform those advantages into clear wins. And these moves that are being given to me by the engine here, like moves like bishop to e1 or bishop to c3, they're not super clear in what they're doing. Like especially for me, bishop to e1. And so they're, or like h3, these seem to be like small improving moves. So f4, I guess the player thought, I'm doing something big here. And takes.
F4. It's not bad.
Takes, and now e4. I think there's definitely something in all of us as chess players where it's very hard to just sit with the position and do nothing. Like you always want to be making progress in some way. And the engine doesn't have this because the engine is not human. So it doesn't care. It just sits with a good position and can sit with a good position forever. But we want to make progress.
Yeah, once I had to record a video for Chess.com of two engines playing. Oh my god. That was even worse than this trap videos. Like, I texted them, like, what the hell? Like, there's like 200 moves and it makes no sense. Like, what to comment about that? And in the end, they can make a draw. They can offer a draw. The result has to happen, but they cannot, like, how can you lose in a drawish position when you are making the best moves? So
it's very hard with engine games.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I really looked at engine games, I was having some lessons sponsored by chess.com with Grandmaster Irina Krush. And she was teaching me a very scary opening.
What was it?
She was teaching me the win-hour variation of the French.
Oh.
So it's very scary. It's very scary. And she was showing me some engine games that Stockfish and other engines had played. And we were struggling. She was struggling. I was struggling. Everybody was struggling to understand, like, why are all of these crazy moves being played? And especially when it's a weird opening, and the winner is a very weird opening. It's very, very hard to understand engine moves. So I think sometimes it's not even the best choice for human players to try to emulate the engine, because at the end of the day, your moves have to make sense in your plan. And it's no good playing the best move if you cannot, logically follow it up with a plan. So this is why I
feel so sad for you, because you started Caro-Kann, which is not the first opening, obviously. Like, Caro-Kann is so advanced opening. And then you're telling me that your second experience opening was French.
I know.
I'm like, what has she done wrong?
I know. Why? And see, maybe this is why I don't like to study, because I never learned E5. And for the past kind of year, I was having some on and off coaching. I'm not having any at the moment, but I was having some on and off coaching. And I was telling my coach, I think it's time I didn't play the French anymore. But I couldn't decide. I mean, it's a lot to learn either E5 or C5. Both are lots and lots to study. And I couldn't decide which one I wanted to do, and so I ended up learning nothing.
Oh no. Like, it makes me, like, our talk makes me want to teach you so much the opening, like some proper opening.
Maybe this can be your return to streaming.
Because, like, that's the thing, like, you're going through these phases in your life, and you're starting first with 1e4, e5. I learned that. I don't remember anything, to be honest, but that's what you learn. Is how you're starting. Like, you have to start basic, like, understanding of the center and the developing pieces, and that's good. And it's not too much theory. But then when you reach some level, then the coach should find the opening that suits your character. Like, you feel comfortable with that, and a lot of you try, and you are happy. That's why I played Caro-Kann, because I was a Sicilian player for many, many, many years, and it's very sharp. And even though that I'm very, I feel comfortable to calculating and attacking and everything, but it was my opponent calculating and attacking my king, so I was not happy with that decision. and then we switched to Karokan. That like for me, Karokan came when I was already probably international master, because there was for me the backup option to avoid the Sicilian, and I was already at that level that I could handle the positions there, like the positional understanding. So the reason why you feel that you cannot attack, like you cannot feel maybe the attack, is because you started from like in the middle, like from advanced as positions already. So you using that part, and this is actually like a lot of people are lucky to find the proper coach from the beginning. So you like your coach works so much on you and knows exactly what suits you the best. But don't give up.
I didn't have a coach for a long time. And so I was using YouTube and things like this, and there's a lot of information out there, and when you're so new to chess, it's very hard to know what is good advice and what is bad advice. And I absolutely say the same thing. Like whenever someone is starting to play chess and they're saying to me like what openings, I just say learn e4 e5. I just say that's the way you should learn chess, and that's the way I wish I had learned chess, is to play e4 e5. And yeah, I think that if I want to actually make a push to improve at any point, like learning e5 is the next step to doing that for me, because
the question, like in my chat, is a question: can a good coach look at you play and suggest a good opening for you? Definitely, for sure. Like any coach needs about 10 to 20 games to understand and analyze what you need. I have a very interesting story about that. There was a tournament, US Championship. I was playing either 18 or under 16, I guess. And out of 9 games, I scored 8 points. I made 2 draws and won 7 games.
Wow.
And
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's that story that I didn't become the champion. I got second place. We sure, like the person who got the first place, it's a grandmaster now. I won against her. Like she lost 1 game and won 8 games, and I made draws and won. Like it was very complicated.
It was on the tie breaks.
Right. Yeah, it was like weird tie breaks back then. I don't remember it. Like some Bugos or whatever. Very unfair. And I'm only 15 years old, right? Like I did my best. I don't know what else I can do. I'm broken in pieces. Like I'm alone in Italy without a coach, without the parent. I'm underage kid. And like I was like, there was the moment when I was like crying inside. Like I don't want to show because like I also took second place. I can't cry, but like I want to cry because what the hell happened? And there was the day when I traveled back. A lot of people were texting me because it was like so weird experience for me. Even a very famous Georgian chess player, Maciej, who is the world champion for 5 times, she called me after that case, and she was like, "That's okay. Things like this happens. Keep going." And there was a mail that I received. In like few days after the tournament, a Georgian coach who lives in Germany, his name is David. He's a coach of a lot of German youngsters actually in these days. He said he supports me very much. He likes very much how I play there, but it happens things like this. And he looked my games. And he understood that I have a problem with black pieces, and he sent me the whole variation of knight as a file analyzed with the comments. Like I had like so many in my email, and I was opening one by one, and that was the cost of, I don't know, several thousand of dollars of the work, and he just sent it for free. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is the best gift I could ever get. Also, like this person, she's just perfect coach, right? He just saw my games and said like, this is what you need to improve, and good luck for your next tournament.
That's the dream. That's like, that's the best thing that could happen. Oh my gosh. I need
Yeah, and we're
this.
talking
I
this
need
like
this.
many years ago. These days, like it's
Mhm.
so much easier to find like chessable
For
courses.
sure.
A lot of really good coaches are like, and it's so much affordable these days. But back in those days, it was so expensive to have a grandmaster coach. I had like so many files, like hundreds of files in my computer. And yeah, that was really awesome. So you just need to find the right coach, right person in your life who will
Mhm.
guide the right direction. Did it help?
Yeah, maybe
I
this
think
is
it
what I
helped,
need to
yes.
do.
Yeah, don't give up, don't give up.
We have a couple of moves. So actually, somebody asked before in the YouTube chat when we were saying about how sometimes when you have a good position, you just need to maintain your good position instead of pushing.
Yeah.
And somebody said, how do you do that? Because you have to make a move. Like you can't pass your turn. So obviously every move you make changes the position somehow. And I guess the difference between a move like f4 and the moves that the engine were suggesting was, f4 is a very big pawn break. So it really changes the structure and transforms the position a lot. Whereas moves like bishop e1 don't really change the position anywhere near as much. Bishop can always come back to d2. Pawn structure remains the same. And it's a very low risk move. So there's definitely different risk level. And pawn moves are very, very permanent. Of course, you can't take them back. So I think...
yeah, I don't believe that moves like bishop e1 is like the first candidate move.
No, it's very
he has
exactly
7 minutes too.
that's exactly what I think is like. It's very engine move,
Yeah. Oh, you will be checked after this move if you play first engine move.
Yeah, the Kremnik will start the process after this move. It's gonna happen.
What's his famous? I have to do a procedure, or what's
interesting? Yes, he'll start the procedure. Yes. Yes. So bishop c3 was played, which does make a lot of sense now because this diagonal is open. So makes sense. And now rook to f7. Okay,
I think rook f7 is everything knight c7 knight e6.
I see.
Right, knight c7 knight e6 was the idea.
Right,
there.
to have fork here, or double attack.
If you get the dark square bishop, black has huge problem.
Yes, for sure. You can put a lot of pressure. Okay, and so king h1 was played. So this is just improving move as well. And now if the knight moves, I'm thinking that we can bring our bishop in. Obviously, we can't play it right now, but it would be very nice because this bishop is kind of our only piece that's not doing a whole lot for the time being.
I think we can also just do something like queen b2 next move.
Yes.
With the idea of knight c7 anyway, I love this move so much, knight c7, knight e6. And we're putting so much pressure now on this diagonal with queen b2.
Right, because if they take, then we are going to take here anyway. And then the queen comes in and it's very bad.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Very nice. Shall we take a look at board 3 maybe?
Board, yeah.
Or board 1, I don't mind. Oh, sorry, I have Jovan because I don't have board 3 anymore. Okay, board 3 ended. Let's go to board 1 then in that case, because we had very clear advantage there for Bobby Cheng. Let's see if he still has it. So e3 and h5. Bishop takes and we're damaging the pawn structure. Okay. Oh no, we're not damaging the pawn structure. Okay. But we are winning c5 regardless.
Yeah. h5 is also hanging.
Yes, so I guess g6 he saves this pawn and now Oh yes, Rook d7 is very, very nice. Rook d7 played within
So
20 seconds. And I mean, you really have to just like come back somehow.
if you play king g7, then e6 is a blunder, so we have to be careful with that. And maybe
yes,
some
yes.
checkmate ideas here.
Very nice. So there is a pin, of course. Yeah, like I was thinking, this is such a weak king now, and it's much harder for black to attack. So I'm sure Bobby
I think
Cheng
king
is really
g8
happy.
is king g8 or queen f6 is only move, and you are losing also c5.
Yes, I guess maybe king g8.
I still take on c5 first, and if you take queen a2, then I give the check on d8, and queen f8 comes with a check. Right.
And now the engine is giving us forced mate. So there is the mate you are looking for. It is there. It does exist, but it's long.
7.
It's mate in 7. So, but yeah, it's not a nice position to have. So maybe maybe it's safer to play queen f6 to bring the queen back as a defender.
And then I take the pawn anyway, because
yes,
you don't
take it anyway.
Anymore, right?
No, but I guess you can follow up with queen a7 and you're. I mean, it's just very hard to defend this position because you probably have to like play king g8 anyway, or something to prevent rook f7. Okay, shall we take a look at Jovanka?
Oh my goodness! King on b4.
Yes,
when Jovi played f8, I was like, is she going to do the king walk? But it wasn't even mentioned that.
Yeah, you didn't mention it because
do you mind if I open the door? Someone is knocking, so just give me a second. Someone's knocking.
Okay, no, absolutely no problem.
Sorry.
No, don't worry at all. So for those of you who weren't looking or weren't watching when we were looking at Jovanka's game, we were around here when the king started to make a bit of a journey. And actually, white has very little space, very little they can do in this position. And it's very crucial that, these pieces stay around the king because black's queen and knight are very active. So white is kind of just shuffling her pieces, shuffling them around. And meanwhile, black is walking their king over all the way to b4, which is amazing because this king never castled, came to f8 and all the way now to b4. So rook c1.
Oh my goodness.
c5.
I like it.
Rook back to b1.
So white
really is shuffling now. Yes, this is positional masterclass from Jovanka because she only now has played f5. Only now she has complete and utter positional dominance, and she didn't complicate things before she felt the time was right. This is amazing. This is maybe my favorite game we've seen today.
I think she's very she likes positional. Type of the openings, and she feels very comfortable right now, even though we have the opposite color bishop. A lot of people very often just believes that it's going to be a draw or it is equal, but it's opposite. Like you can turn the position into the situation when you have extra bishop actually, and this bishop on c3 looks really, really nice.
Yes, I've heard that it really favors the side with the attacking bishop anyway, in those cases where it's not drawish. So, I mean, this is really nice. And of course, these pawns are very well advanced, which is nice for the ending as well. And this c2 pawn is just going to be under threat after this move, queen d2, which the engine is suggesting. So if your Vanka finds this, is going to be very, very hard.
I love this move, actually.
Yes, it's just complete, infiltration, and she plays it within 1 minute.
She goes for it.
She's confident. Oh. She's playing the best moves very quickly. It's great to see.
Oh my god. I love this move. And, like to trade the queens on board and to get the access to c3 square by the king, that's going to be crucial for white. Because it's only bishop who can guard the pawn on c2, and you can sacrifice your exchange. And look at this pawn chain, it will be gone soon. After that, 3 pawn will be gone, and then e4 pawn will be gone.
This is beautiful. And she's had this bishop on c3 for such a long time. She has been very, very slowly and methodically just improving her position. And now it's like she's completely winning. This is very, very nice.
That.
Very nice position. And we can take a look maybe at board 2.
Yep, we can do that. Oh, we have some interesting development here after king h1. We have e3. I like this move very much because like black has also this pawn, and you want to make some difficulties in your opponent's position. And bishop to f3. This is not the move I would play actually, because this pawn isn't then move.
Yeah, I think this is definitely now black's biggest threat. We've got to keep an eye on this pawn. I mean, obviously you want to be able to put a rook behind it at some point and just push it. So rook e7 is definitely would be one of my candidate moves for some time soon. Engine is liking knight to g8 and bishop to f6. So this like rerouting, which is interesting. Don't know if I really understand it.
Knight g8. I think like black has extra exchange, right? So maybe that's the point to
that's true.
Get rid of the bishop from c3, and also if you get the bishop off the board, then a5 pawn will hang. And any trades is good here for black, obviously.
This is true. Yes. And I guess you are also having an attack on these f pawns, which are quite weak. So this makes sense. This makes sense. Actually, this is a really creative way for black to play this position with these e4, e3. And if they go for this idea to attack the f-pawns and trade off the bishop, this is really nice. Because I was thinking just a couple of moves ago that it's just much more comfortable and much nicer for white. But now actually we see white is playing with only 3 minutes. Only 3 minutes. And they play king g8. I guess this feels kind of safe because you're moving out of any potential pins or checks, but now maybe your idea of queen b2 or engine is liking queen g2 as well because of the pin. But I think the real problem here is white's time, because white has been winning this game, but if they can't keep up with their quality of moves on the clock, it's gonna be, it's gonna be the worst feeling if you're beating a grandmaster the whole game and then you just run out of time.
Because of
this
the
would
time.
be devastating. Yeah. This would be devastating. Thank you, chess.com, for rating us with a party of 2,300.
Oh, it's a big
Well,
party.
that's a big raid. Thank you, chess.com. We are covering the Isle of Wight Masters. For those of you who are new here, I'm Lula and this is Ketty. Thank you, BJH, for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much. We are currently looking at the top games in the Masters section. We are about 3 hours in, and this is 90-30 tournament. So most of the games are very close to getting to some kind of end game. A lot of the games are already over. We don't have time control, so the games are actually just about to get extremely exciting because everybody is about to get into time trouble. So this is where things are going to get crazy. And Queen E2, just to keep control over this pawn, is a very sensible move to make in time trouble, I think, actually.
Oh, wait,
now
the king
Rook
went
E7.
back on G8?
Yes, King G8 was the move that was played, which is kind of strange, but I think that Knight G8 is not a very human idea. And I guess the king is just keeping everything in check now. Nothing is loose. But I think
I have a feeling what he is doing here with like Black Sebastian. He's just blitzing out. His opponent has 2 minutes on the clock,
Yes.
and he's making all his moves in less than a minute, in like basically in a few seconds. And he wants to put a lot of pressure on the clock. That's what he's doing. Like not really looking for the best moves, but to make sure that he's not losing, but he's making the moves.
I totally agree. And this is something that I have tried to do before, and then my opponents have just ended up playing very well in time trouble. So, but here actually, White has found by far the best move that the engine has been screaming for a while. Well, it's been screaming for 2 moves since Black played King G8. And that's this idea of Queen to G2, because of course now if you take the knight, the bishop is pinned, cannot recapture. So now there is direct threat, and you either have to move your king or you have to defend your knight some other way. And this is nice. This is nice to see that White is playing good chess in low time. Because, you know, he has played so well for the whole game that it's hard to root against somebody when, you know, they've just played such an amazing game. And so...
we had this beautiful sacrifice on B7. And before that, he was just building up all this structure. And I also like the way how he played, and it will be really, really unfortunate if time is going to be here. The reason of not winning.
But I think hopefully he can continue to find these active moves, and because now his opponent has to spend a little bit of time, has to think a little bit, because tactics can arise. I mean, I guess here you're either going to play something like Rook F7 or you're just going to move the king is fine too. You can't really move the king up because the queen will come in. So I guess you move the king away. But yes, Queen G6 always looks very tempting. My only fear is this pawn running, but seems okay for now.
Yeah, if you push E2 right now, then I can just take it, right? So it's okay.
Yes, right.
Bishop F6 is a threat. So
yes, so I guess if King F8, what I was worried is if we move the queen away, potentially some...
Yeah, Queen G6, E2, and we can take this Bishop E2, Rook E2, and then Bishop F6, I guess. Safe.
Yes, that's true. And then you take again. For sure. So this is a very nice position to have as White. Let's just hop over... Oh, hold on. Rook F7 played. Okay. I think this was the safer move, actually. For sure. Because there's no gaps for the queen. And now White is looking for a threat to make. let's take a quick look over at Jovanka, just because I want to see how things were going with her positional dominance. So we have the queen trade and bishop to C1, bishop to D1. Sorry, this is like the most upsetting move to have to play.
Yeah, but this is the game, or it's not the game with 92. Was it the game when he was playing a lot of 92?
Yes.
So it's not the most upsetting.
He shuffled around. No, that's true. Yes, the knight did do lots of hopping, but this is a really upsetting move to have to play. Bishop to D1, and now I guess white is just hoping that black can't capitalize, but yeah, like you said, I guess just tearing away at the pawn chain and hoping that you can get in is the way.
I think we have a few more moves in this position, do we?
Yes, you're totally right. So we have takes, bishop to f4, and king to e2, and king to c3. So my question is, do you ever take here? Rook takes c2. So
that's a good question. I think yes, because you basically cannot really stop d3, d2, and d1.
Because you have to go somewhere with this.
Rook a1. And you just push d3 here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, this would be really beautiful. I think that this is probably the fastest way to win, I suppose. If you're looking for the fastest way.
Yeah, there's a comment in the chat that never thought the opposite colored bishop endgame with material, like even material would be one-sided. Actually, that happens quite often. That a lot of players just consider it's already the opposite color bishop and there's like not much of worries, it's going to be a draw, but it's not a draw. And in that case, it really matters if king is safe or not. And in this case, white king was okay, not too safe, but black's king was too active. And here we saw this king walk here. And yeah, basically because of this activity of the pieces that black has, white actually never had a chance to survive in this game. Like, it was so difficult to play.
Yes, this has been a very fun game to watch with the king walk. It's kind of rare that you see this. And I think that just seeing how superior black's bishop is to white's bishop really just shows that, even though it's opposite colored bishops, these bishops are not by any means the same tier of bishop. And okay, Jovanka is thinking, maybe she's thinking about sacrificing her rook on c2 because king f3 has been played.
Yeah, I think she's got that for sure, but there's also another option to play c4 in here and then to play d3 and to do this without sacrifices, but like she has done a lot of great work with all these moves. Rook c2 is so simple, it comes with all the tactics and all the attacks, and like if you take the pawn on b3 and to have this pawn chain together with the bishop, like what's the chance to survive there, right?
And she plays bishop to c1. Brilliant move. Our third brilliant move of the day.
This is the naughtiest move I have ever seen. If you take it.
So if you take
the king b2 and I trap the rook. Bobby, you are a nice person.
Wow.
Oh, this is so disgusting.
Crazy. This is disgusting. This is amazing. This is my favorite, by far my favorite game of the day. I said it before she played this move.
This is the best move I have seen.
This is
Yeah.
amazing. I love this move. Wow. This is beautiful.
Okay, let's take a moment here. Look at this move. Bishop to c1.
This is
No.
amazing.
You
Oh
look at
my
her, she looks
gosh.
so innocent. And then she moves like this. Oh my goodness.
That's true. She's like the nicest person you've ever met, and then she plays this against you on the board. Oh my gosh. And this is
Oh
such
my
a
God.
creative move. This is such a crazy creative move. And I don't think the engine even
Oh my
thought of it.
goodness,
I think
this is so
the
beautiful.
engine didn't think of this at all. It just said play
Yeah.
rook takes c2. And also like we didn't see this, but Jovanka saw this. This is crazy.
She just out engine. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
exactly.
This is a good move. It's a beautiful move, but it's also disgusting. Like just imagine you see this move on your board.
Okay, and
Jesus
now
Christ.
g3
So
is played.
beautiful.
And I guess the point is now you've disconnected the rook's defense of this bishop here on d1. So you're gonna lose material
Absolutely.
somehow. So okay, Chat is asking
And
to move
also,
back
like
to
a lot
board
of
2.
people,
Yes.
yeah, a lot of
Sorry.
people knows Jovi
Mm-hmm.
because she's one of the best commentators.
She is.
And then she has this very sweet laugh. And I just imagine her laughing about this move. It would be such a great combo.
It's a beautiful move. I love this game. I'm gonna save this game. Actually, not much has happened on board 2 that the chat is asking for. We just have rook g1, queen g1. And now, okay. After 5-minute think from his grandmaster opponent, we have king to f8. So actually just leaving this pawn to be taken if he wants it.
With a big apology, we will not be surprised anymore today with any of the fancy moves, right? We already have it. Bishop c1. We can actually name it as a move of a day.
Yeah, it's move of the day, for sure. Definitely move of the day.
Yeah. Where is the stump? We stump it.
Yeah. Okay,
Beautiful.
so queen takes e3, and now knight to e8. And so now we have very nice clean pawn up. This knight to e8 idea having the same idea as before, where it unlocks the rook's attack on the f-file. But actually now this idea I said a long time ago becomes good, which obviously was not playable before, but bishop to h5 is now possible. And if you move the rook, I think that's checkmate.
Yeah, I thought checkmate.
Crazy. So bishop h5, rook to e7 is defense. It's always annoying when your opponent has a defense. Okay, and bishop to h5 is played. This is very nice. White is playing very, very nice chess. Very beautiful, clean chess. And I'm guessing rook e7 is played.
7. It feels like there can be a beautiful tactic or something, but nothing is really visible. He has 1 minute on the clock. He has to make very obvious moves, like, I don't know, queen somewhere on g3.
Yeah, it's just moving the queen, and you have only 1 minute with 30-second increment. So you're wanting to, I mean, you really want there to be some like deflection tactic, but it's not there. It's not existing. Oh, and we have lost the boards again. Do you have them? The cameras?
Oh. Yeah, I guess so.
You're seeing the camera still?
No, I'm not seeing them.
Okay, no, I'm not seeing them either.
Yeah, maybe it needs to just update once in a while.
Oh, they're back. They're back. Perfect.
By their side.
Okay, so this move, queen to d3. Engine saying slightly inaccurate, not so good. I guess it's having. I mean, after knight to f6. Hmm. It's a bit tricky,
I think the
guess.
first game has also ended.
Okay, let's go and take a look at game 1. Yes, it has ended with Bobby Cheng winning, which
Yeah, it
makes
ended.
perfect sense. We had anticipated that this game after queen takes would be a win. Yes, okay. Rook takes, queen takes, queen takes. And you're up three pawns in this endgame, are you? It's...
Yeah.
Yes.
Like a piece.
And so the opponent resigns, which I think is very respectful. It's a good time to resign in a double round day. Like, your grandmaster opponent is not blundering this one, I don't think. What happened? What happened?
I don't know.
What?
No, someone clipped our reactions and it's so weird.
Oh, okay. Okay. Should I watch it? Or it's not good?
I had another reaction. Now clip that too, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ivanka has won. Her opponent has resigned.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful play by Ivanka. I'm so proud of her. Do you know that we have the birthday same day? We have
Oh, really?
both on 10th of June. Gemini,
Wow.
both of us. We share
I am Gemini
the
as
same
well.
sign. I'm so happy. Oh, oh God.
I'm 19th of June.
No, cool. I'm 10th. We're
nice.
both 10th.
It's a good birthday in June. This is beautiful. So just to show why the opponent resigned against Ivanka. So after you save the bishop, we have the same problem before where the rook is trapped,
gone.
which is amazing. I guess you can play bishop d3
bishop
to give up the
d3,
bishop. Yeah. But yeah, this is very, very nice. And you're gonna win this endgame. So very nice win for Ivanka. And we have let's see, knight to f6 and bishop to f3 played. And so I actually think that this 2200 is doing a very good job of not going under 1 minute. And actually the grandmaster opponent is kind of clock. So
on time,
yeah.
Yeah, because he lost his pawn on e3. There was
exactly.
There was a hope for black.
Yes, his pawn was his best kind of asset to make white's position uncomfortable. Like, I would say that without that pawn, white is not gonna panic so much in time trouble.
Exactly. And now it's not so clear the plan here for white how to win this position. So this was still the idea, queen back on b2 to line up on this diagonal. You don't have to worry about the checks anymore because the bishops are controlling quite well those squares. This is one way to play, and I was just thinking how to get this knight into the game because like it's beautifully placed on d5, but b5, but not doing too much, right?
Yes, that's true.
The d6.
I guess one thing that the knight is doing.
E6.
I guess one thing the knight is doing is keeping the queen attached to d6, and maybe that's one of the reasons for this knight e8 move, partially.
Can we play something like f6 here? F6 with idea to, like, when you capture it back, I'll get queen 5 and pin this.
Bishop f6 and then
queen f5 here.
Queen f5 is very, very nice. Rook f7, I guess, but still is very nice.
Bishop h5 and knight g7 is a naughty move there.
Bishop h5 and knight g7, and all of a sudden we are not winning anymore. Oh no. Okay, so here apparently yes, you can go for this, but you have to follow up with bishop h5. I guess just remove the defender tactic if you get it. Queen takes, and now you have threats.
And you have to, like, you might ask, like, people in the chat might ask why you have to give up the pawn from f5, because, like, white's position is, like, you can't really access to
The clock.
anywhere, and by giving up, you're opening up very long diagonal, and then queen can get into the light
The
squares.
clock, Katie, the clock. The clock. He has 4 seconds to make a
my
move.
heart.
No.
No, he made a move.
Oh, he made a move with 1 second left.
He made the move on
with
again?
1 second. Oh my god.
What?
With
Oh,
1
God.
second. Okay, so maybe going for your idea of the rerouting the queen to b2. Oh my gosh, that's terrifying. With 1 second left.
Just imagine Sebastian Wagner's reaction when his opponent makes the move on 1 second on the clock. It's the worst feeling. I hear that.
Especially because as the grandmaster here, you're really just flag your opponent, but hoping that they will make an error in time trouble.
He hopes to flag the opponent for sure. If I were black, yeah, I would for sure like hope for to do that.
I mean, yes, you would like this, but I guess you also are just hoping that your opponent will blunder. I have had one opponent flag against me in classical, and I flagged actually once as well. It was bad.
So cute. You flagged only once?
Well, I flagged twice.
Kindest chess player!
I flagged twice, but once was not rated, so I don't count it. Okay, so here this is black trying to make some complications. Black trying to make some complications, but we just have to take with check. If we can take with check, and we take with check. Okay, I'm really rooting for white here. I'm really, really rooting for white.
I'm still thinking about what you said.
About flag. Oh, in classical, but online I flag like every game.
I would do it in every game. Okay, if knight takes, then we push f6 for sure.
Yes, I guess if king takes, we just have to. I guess you can check, or you can attack the rook.
I like king g2
this is
here,
nice.
actually, just to get the king.
Okay.
Queen f2 has been played.
Oh. Apparently, king g2.
What's a blunder?
Queen takes a5, apparently.
Ooh,
Very easy to forget about.
About
this pawn. Very easy to forget. Black has not taken back yet. Guess he is seriously thinking about taking with the knight, I guess. f6 for sure. Interesting. Queen a5. For some reason, top engine move. I guess engine is really just being mean about your position, because this looks bad. Knight e8. f7, disgusting from the engine. Queen takes h7 is mate, of course, apparently. So this would be very fancy to see. I think black realizes that he has to be very careful here. He's being cautious and using some time. This is our last game that we've been following that's still going on. And this one is very exciting. I think that the time pressure of 90-30 at the end really does change it. Okay, so we have move, we have king takes and queen g2 check immediately. And apparently we're no longer having an advantage. Okay, I wasn't aware of this.
Oh, queen g2 has been played.
Queen g2 check has been played, in very quickly because of the time, and apparently King f8 saves the position, and King f8 is played, and now Queen f2 is played. And now
there's some small detail here that it was much better when it was on g7.
Rook b3 is the best move apparently.
But this is not in the game, right? It's just
no, this is not. This is not in the game. I guess maybe the engine's idea is to sack back the exchange to try and grab these pawns, and have the threat of the passer. I'm not sure. I'm just okay. But Rook e7 is played, which is much more human. Like Rook b3 feels a bit strange, personally. And both are playing on low time, so this feels safe, but gives slight edge back to White. I guess you just have to keep making threats. Yes, Queen h4 looks definitely like an idea. Queen h4, can you play something like King to g? No, probably not. It looks scary to play this.
Oh.
So why not?
Oh, the pawn. We should not blunder the pawn on a5.
Yes. Apparently this is a very, very, very big deal.
Knight g7, I guess. And then queen gets into the game, queen.
And then checks. Yes. Okay, and we're back down to playing with 10 seconds on the clock. Oh my gosh. Okay, good. Queen b2. Perfect. This is the only good move. Just got to keep the threats going. I don't know why I'm so personally invested in this game now. I feel like if this was me, I would need somebody to be rooting for me. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure, like when you play chess, you stream, right? When you play chess,
yes.
I mean.
Yes.
So, and there are a lot of people rooting for you.
Yes, that's true actually. It feels a lot better like when you win to know that people were following that with you, but then it also feels sometimes more pressure to win because you feel like you're letting people down if you play bad chess. But I also do some commentary.
Yeah, people are mean sometimes. Let's be direct. People are mean.
Yeah, people are mean. People are mean. Even
and I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, people can be very, very critical of moves, and the difference is, and I try to stay. This is now apparently completely crushing, but you just have to not let stuff like this happening. So Queen h8 check, King e7,
King goes f6,
f6
knight
check,
f6, Queen g7, and you are winning a knight with a check. That's very important.
That's true.
And if you go king to e8, then knight d6 gets into the knight d6 and knight d7.
Getting in with check. Oh, he has to play this. No, he didn't. No, he didn't play the check.
King g3.
King g3, and now he is getting checked.
Why?
And now he's getting checked.
And then queen e1 gets in the check too.
Yes. Oh no. Okay, maybe King h3 is possible.
Brutal game.
Oh, and
but
now
with the queen and the rook,
and now you can't.
Not the same
now you can't come here because they can always start to block you. Oh no! I'm actually devastated.
God. And he made this move in 2 seconds. Look at this, 32 seconds on the clock. Wow. He was down 2 seconds
he thought he was playing it safe, but he had to just go for the checks and trying to follow the checks.
Yeah. Okay, there was queen d2. Like if you don't see queen h8 in f6, you don't go for it. That's what happened to him.
Yes, that's fair. So rook g1 is played,
Rook
and
g1, yeah.
unfortunately, I feel like this is now going to be black's game. King h3 played very quickly,
And queen gets only one.
Queen.
Queen a1 is also a possibility to control the long diagonal.
Yes, that's true. To try to also just trade off the queen.
And he has a good 3 minutes for this. He will not lose it, actually,
Yes.
with Sebastian Wagner. Oh my goodness. One last move, king g3.
Wonder
That's
if you
crucial.
can go for this maybe and try to win some pawns, but I don't think it's ever gonna happen because you're down the rook.
You're down the exchange, actually. Maybe that's not so bad.
Oh yes, sorry. Yeah,
to
down
trade
the
the queens. Yeah.
I think black will just be careful now. I think this is also one of those things that you get better at the more you play chess, is realizing those moments where you have a chance and realizing when the situation flips and your opponent doesn't have the same threats as before. I guess you still have to calculate this kind of thing.
The thing is now I play king e7 and you don't have g7 square, you don't have f6. I just take that pawn.
Yes, because you can't give the check anymore.
And the moment black starts to give checks, it will end with a checkmate. You have queen f1, queen f2, and you're taking the bishop off the board. So, oh my goodness, this is really bad for black.
And queen e1 is played, so unfortunately, time trouble strikes again. I think this is a very hard game to lose. Game when you're winning the whole time against a stronger player. And now giving the checks, but it's too late. I guess we can hope that black blunders mate in 4 with king f7. And now bishop.
Yeah.
But it's not played. It's an immediate king to e7. There is no checkmate. And yeah. Very unfortunate for the underdog here.
That was so funny in the end. Like, last chance to blunder. Actually,
Yeah.
it happens.
I mean, there's
to
always
me too.
last chance to blunder.
I always have a hope, that my opponent will blunder this one last move. Otherwise, you can play chess, right? Like, you have to have a hope.
My opponent, well, one of my opponents in my last tournament blundered mate in 1 or mate in 2 or something.
Oh.
And he had I had sacrificed a bishop, like not super valid sacrifice for 2 pawns or something. And I was attacking his king, but he had like 2 moves that were totally fine and he just blundered the mate instead. I was very lucky. I think it's the only time something that lucky has happened to me in chess.
Yeah.
I think this one will end quite quickly. Can even see white maybe flagging here, like running out of time. Realizing that there's no more checks.
Yeah, you don't make moves and just plug yours. Yeah.
Oh no, he plays bishop to g4.
Feels like it really checks a lot of checks and checkmate.
So there is check.
Queen f1, queen f2, queen g4, yeah. Queen f1, king goes on h4, queen f2, king goes back on h3, queen g2, and queen g4.
This is such a little snaky maneuver for the queen. Okay, and yes, queen f1 is played. There are quite a few checkmates there, according to the engine, but this is the one that Sebastian has found. Same one as you.
Wow.
Oh no, he's playing this one instead. Okay, so rook
Ah, knight
takes.
f6. Knight f6 is the work. Oh wow, that's a painful loss for 444. Let me read out his name correctly. Ben Suleysa. But he had such a wonderful game.
Honestly, he played a really, really beautiful game and should be very, very proud. But it's one of these things that we have as chess players. Like it's not enough to play the beautiful game. You want to win the beautiful game, you know?
Yeah.
But this is really beautiful win as well. And I think he knows it's over. So I think he probably will not play any more moves. Yes, he has resigned. Okay.
Wow, what a day, right?
Yes.
It's never boring it's never boring for the chess tournament.
No,
interesting.
I will just take a very quick look through the standings of the top few games. So we have both grandmasters winning on boards 1 and 2. We do actually have a draw on board 3, which is interesting. So this game that was the Najdorf with that backwards pawn on d6, if we all remember this kind of position that was had. So this game ended up being a draw. And I guess this is not a happy result if you're 25-11 grandmaster drawing with 2200, but I guess it can happen. It's only round 2, so it's very hard to see kind of how your opponent will do in the rest of the game and the rest of the tournament. Sorry, maybe they will have the tournament of their life. Board 4,
and also like
yes,
for some people they need to warm up at the beginning.
Absolutely,
like myself, when I don't play for a long time, I need few games to get back into shape and to get back in also my mindset and remembering on the openings and everything. So it's gonna be long tournament.
Yeah, I always feel very rusty in my first game back. Always. We have Ameet Ghasi winning on board 4 against his candidate master opponent. So no crazy upsets here. Board 5 and 6. So Alexandra Prado is still going on here. And she has a slightly worse end game. Because she is down a pawn. And it's never nice to be down a pawn. I would be very curious just to snip through very quickly just to see what happened. So we're looking at it from her perspective.
Yeah.
This is where we left off. Bishop takes, knight takes, and castles. Okay, so she had this opportunity, but I guess she wanted to get her king to safety. Makes perfect sense. And okay, now takes on b2. Queen back and bishop back. So she has up a pawn. So actually this has not gone so badly for her as we thought initially, that, you know, maybe something had gone wrong in the opening. Okay, and now this is a blunder. But okay.
The blunder on the pawn on h2. That was
apparently this is
too many questions.
This is a very big deal.
You know why? Because you can take on f4, and after rook, if you take rook e7, there's bishop d6, then you're losing the knight over.
Yes, this is very nice that you've pointed out that you don't get this pawn back. Very, very nice. Okay, so I mean, being up 2 pawns is never something to complain about, but she didn't go for it.
Never with the black
So-
pieces, especially. You don't do
Yeah.
that.
Okay, bishop f6. And we're offering lots of trades here. Okay, so things are quite equal. I never really enjoy these positions where a lot of the pieces come off very early. I prefer to play more complicated positions. I don't know why, I just find them more enjoyable, even if maybe I'm not as good at them. Like maybe it's easier to play these positions that are simpler, but I find that I don't like it so much.
More, yeah. I like to simplify the position. I'm the opposite
Yeah.
of that.
I guess you're confident that you'll have better technique than your opponent.
In the end, I like end games, so yeah, I drag everyone to the end game.
Yes,
And
I
if
guess
also my
somewhere
opponent is
somewhere in this simplification, Alex went from being up a pawn to being down a pawn, and she just ends up in an unfortunate ending. But you know, you have to play it out. You have to make your opponent prove it.
yeah. So there's so many like possibilities to make a draw in the end game. That's why it's like so interesting. But now we
Yes,
can
and
see
some
the
endgames
problem I think is the
like
king.
yeah, this king now is cut off a bit, but I guess maybe Alex is hoping that she can grab this and try to push this, but I think with the knight you're never going to be able to. But you have to play it out until you know it's really over. Until somebody is about to promote something or something.
Yeah. Well, Alex also has 35 seconds, so it makes her to like she made last move when she had only 5 on the clock.
Yes, exactly. And
pressure is
also,
another thing.
you know, her opponent only has 3 minutes, so I guess Alex also has the thought that if her opponent ever gets down to low clock, maybe she can outplay her in time trouble. Let's just go back and have a brief look at some of the other standings. So on our board 5, well, it's board 6, but I think Alex's board is a set board. So I think the regular board 5, we have we have an upset with the 2200 beating their grandmaster opponent, Boris Chatalbashev.
Oh, wow.
Grandmaster from Denmark, being beaten by Jacob Boswell. Just simply being up 3 pawns in the ending. Wow, we totally missed this game today, but that's a big upset. And what else do we have?
We actually had some fun with the other games, and the positions were so interesting.
I mean, absolutely. There are so many games that we could have looked at here, and I'm sure there were lots of very, very exciting ones. But I think we got very lucky in having such amazing games today. Like we didn't have any boring games at all.
Yeah, we catch all the best moments in most of the games.
Every one of the games that we followed closely had a brilliant move, actually.
Yeah, true, actually. We had 3 brilliant moves today.
So
very much this round, actually.
Taking a quick look at Alex. And okay, see, her opponent is not playing with computer accuracy, so maybe there were some more drawish chances, but I mean, only if you're stockfish.
Yeah, knight c2 makes a lot of sense. Not to allow king to get on e3, so you don't calculate all those things.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense to me as well. Because really the only threat is if black manages to take that pawn and promote. Mm,
And c4 now.
yes.
Yeah, I'm
But her
sad for this
opponent
king on
is
a4. Just got stuck there.
oh yeah, now the king is really regretting being on a4. It has no moves. But I mean, Rida is a very promising young player. She's
Yeah. You know what I can do here, which is like really, really, really rude to do? King e4, king d5, king c6. Get this king here, and then king b6 maybe even. Or without this king c6, you can just push the pawn c5 and go for it. This is so... But I think it's the best plan here.
I mean, yes, just escort your pawn. That's really nice. And all Alex can do is shuffle her bishop, but
Because if
really
you push
this
the
pawn is
pawn right
really
away, yeah, the king
then the
will get
king.
back on b5.
Yes.
Exactly. So let's get the king first. Like in the end game, it's so important to activate the king. For instance, in
Yes.
b5, and that's it. Like you can push the pawn later.
And she's going for this idea. This is very nice, very clean way to convert. I think just a couple more moves probably. King d4.
The funny thing is that like after king d5, you can even get king on e6 saying to get this king on the other side. Like can stop you doing that. You can just go on the king side and pick up the pawns.
Yeah, there's nothing to stop you from taking these pawns. It's really crazy how
I just
stuck
love
the
this construction.
king is.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
It's so cute.
The board geometry of how every piece here is stopping, and also
Prisoner,
how every
like the
piece
king is a
here is on a
prisoner.
white square, so the bishop can never ever come in and stop it.
I feel so sad for this bishop. Like he looks like an idiot on h4. Like he
Yeah.
can't do anything. Yeah, he's gone to that side. Oh,
Yes.
that's very nice.
This is very
Beautifully done by her.
nice. This is really impressive. What's up, Mr. Dodgy from the Isle of Wight? We actually didn't check your game today. Apologies, we had some very exciting games.
Yeah, we're coming back tomorrow, right? Morning.
Yes.
We have morning round.
Yes, tomorrow at 11 a.m. UK time, 12 p.m. Central European time.
European time.
Yes.
Yeah, and it will be the first round, right?
Yes, it will be the third round.
Like for tomorrow, the first.
Oh, yes, it's the one at 11 a.m.
And they have another round tomorrow, or just one round?
I'm not sure. I'm only covering one
calendar.
round a day, so I'm not certain on which days have double rounds.
Because there are like a lot of tournaments, blitz tournaments too, also in other categories too.
Just one game tomorrow. Guessing that there is double round on Friday because the first round starts earlier.
Yeah, I see. Round 3 is just one, and then next round 4 and round 5 are 2.
Okay.
Then we have again 1, and then we have 2, and then 1. Yeah.
Okay. And Alex is trying to save her pawns. She can only save one of them. I mean, now that there are these two passers, you really cannot stop them, and you don't even have to move this one and let the king out.
Do you know what she's doing? Make move bishop f4.
Bishop f4.
g5 and bishop g5. Bishop king g5. And that's a stalemate. A draw?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so here I guess you can. Here I guess you can just try to chase this bishop.
I think I would go king to h5, and you have this,
to get the pawn. Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
now
if you
if they
play
go
bishop
back, you
g5
push.
here, if you play bishop g5, because you can't take that bishop anyway, then I'll push
Right.
c5.
Yes. And then if the
You
king moves, you
mb5
take the
square.
bishop.
Yeah. And if you move
Very
your
nice.
bishop away, I push c6 or I push g5.
Yes.
So like even like until the end, you have to always fight, right?
Yes. I don't think she saw the stalemate, but the stalemate was very impressive. I didn't see it, but it was very nice. But I guess when you're playing on increment, it feels like you're playing the fastest game of your life, even though 30 seconds is not so short if you're playing something like Blitz, but in classical, 30 seconds feels like 1 second somehow.
Yeah.
And now, I really thought now g5, but now we're escorting the pawn, I guess. We're pushing both.
I like doing the king in the middle of the board on it. And she's just traveling. This is another traveler today.
Yes, this king has been doing a lot of hard work. This king just came all the way over, over from here, took some pawns, came up, now going over here. I think Alex is not going to play on that much longer. I mean, you cannot stop.
Yeah, she can push c5
everything
here safely.
c5. Some check maybe.
Yeah. You can also push c6.
Here you just knight
Oh,
c6.
Beautiful.
Yeah. This is completely winning. So I think this game will end very soon, and all of our other games have ended. So it seems around the right time for us to say goodbye for the day. As Katie said, we will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. UK time with round 3, and very excited to see what happens tomorrow. I feel like when you're following the games, you get attached to like different stories and different people you see doing well, and I'm excited to see how things are going. I definitely want to look at Jovanka's game tomorrow after her game today. So
yeah, we're gonna have other heroes tomorrow as well. Like we're gonna
that's true.
Choose one game, and
that's true. We'll have lots. And as we can see actually from our live cam, almost all of the games have finished. Just a couple going on still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually. So many games have been finished.
Yes. Thank you so much, Katie, for joining me for commentary. I really enjoyed it. This is our first time really ever speaking, actually. But it's been very nice.
True.
Yeah. Well, I guess
around the time too.
I guess around the time I started to stream a lot, you weren't streaming so much anymore, and then I hadn't started to play tournaments, and so we never met. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true actually. We have never met, but the chess community is like it's a small family. We know about each other, so I have heard about you. And it's so lovely to meet you in person. I'm very happy, first of all, that you're Gemini like me, so we understand each other so well. For sure. Yes. And also like it's so nice to see people like improving their chess knowledge and wanting to play chess for me, because I'm chess for my life, like basically like from I don't even remember when I started to play chess, like it was so long ago. And it's so good to see people like you being interested in chess and improving and to have all the experiences that you had, right? So it's so interesting to even to know about like how you started with the openings and everything. But like for sure, like you should we should just not give up and try. Like, when after our talk, I was just thinking, oh my God, maybe we should do some classes or something. And I was like really considering to do like some tactics with you because like it is so nice. Like I enjoy so much to see people enjoying chess and learning chess. And it's not only a game, right? Because it gives us some skills that we
Absolutely.
don't even realize it. It just like you can use it in life for I don't know whatever. So yeah, that's pretty nice, and I'm very happy to have you, to know you, and I'm happy to meet chess community online back because I'm not doing online streaming for like half a year, maybe even longer. So it's good to be back.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, our community was very happy to see you streaming today, and it's been a long time since I trained tactics and things. But actually, after our talk today, like I realized, what I need to do to start improving again. And okay, Alex has resigned her game. This is understandable. But yeah, I think if you ever decide to come back to streaming, maybe we can do some some educational content. But I'm sure I will learn a lot more from you, even just in tomorrow's stream, because you've had some really great insights today, and I really, really enjoyed commentating with you. So thank you again. I'm going to do a raid to somebody. I think I will raid Emily Plays Chess. I've never raided her before. She is a new chess player. So on the topic of new chess players who have just started playing chess recently, we can raid her. Hopefully that goes through. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much to everybody who joined us today. I hope you enjoyed the commentary. Apologies for any tech issues that we had, but it was our first stream, so hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit smoother. But have a lovely evening or day wherever you are.